CoCo Talk would like to thank our patrons who sponsor our show. So warm gratitude goes to Al Hartman, Alan Murphy, Blair Ledoux, Brendan Donahue, Brian Weasler, D. Bruce Moore, Davey Mitchell, Diego, Disney Saints fan, Eric Canales, Fedor Stamen, Frodo NL, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Bebke, Grant Leedy, Henry Strickland, Jason Bucata, Jason Downs, Jenna Farron, Ken Reichert, Kyle Etter, Malfunct, Michael Pitsley, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Richard Lorbieski, Rob Inman, Stephen Wagner, Terry Steen, Terry Steggy, The Backyard Shed Gang, Tom C., Tom S., and Tim Lindner. Thank you ever so much, patrons. CoCo Talk is an unscripted live broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own and not necessarily those of the CoCo Talk show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds encouraged, sense of humor recommended. If any off-color comments were made, we're sorry.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS-80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCo Talk.
This is CoCo Talk, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks, grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCo Talk is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCo Talk is rocking the 8-bit world.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of CoCo Talk. We've got a very special guest. We've got some things to show, some things to tell, and we're going to distort the hobby today because why not, everybody?
CoCo Talk is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCo Talk is rocking the 8-bit world.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show that just won't stop despite numerous requests, restraining orders, and forces of Congress. We are still here. Take it or leave it. So this is it. This is CoCo Talk. This is what we do. Today also happens to be the live stream of VCF Midwest. So hopefully you're watching that in conjunction with us. We've got a great show. We've got a great panel. We've already got some people in the live chat. Tim Franklin is there. Jim R. Nick Marotta. Al Hartman from Jersey. Tom C. Hello, hello. Let's just jump in. Let's get to the panel. We got a lot to cover. We have with us our backup streamer and engineer, all-around nice guy, Mark Bose. He's with us. Hello, Mark. From down under, but on the top of the screen, David O'Connor is here. Hello, David.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here. Neo says hello, too.
Hey. Sometimes known as Greg, but always known as Grant Leedy. Welcome to the program, Grant.
Hello. Nice to be back, everybody.
From the Tandy Shack and TDP Systems and all kinds of other cool stuff, Terry Steggy's here. How you doing, Terry?
Hi, guys. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Whatever.
Our resident Apple guy is with us, Mark D. Overholzer.
Glad to be here.
His name is Ron. He's got a garage. It's Ron Delvo, everybody.
That's me. Hello.
Rick Eulen is with us, a guy who's working on things that also involve switches. I smell copyright infringement coming up here. How you doing, Rick?
Fairly well. Take care.
All right. And from the Great White North, where weed is legal and he's a happy guy, L. Curtis Boyle. How are you, Curtis?
Not here.
He's muted.
You're muted.
Muted.
Curtis isn't here, man.
He's a mutant.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was muted there. Not the Great White North here yesterday. It was 86 degrees yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow. Is that Fahrenheit or Celsius?
that's Fahrenheit.
Celsius.
All right.
Celsius. Melting,
Water
yeah.
boils here.
One and the other.
That is L.A.
Hey, 8 Bits in the Basement is here. Alexander Wallace is here from Mexico. The guy who owns the patent on the toggle switch, Jason the Coco Man, right Reichert is here. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing well, and I am ripped and ready to go. I've got my Diet Dr. Pepper, and let's kick this off.
Oh, it is officially a show.
baby.
He knows the way to San Jose, and he likes it. It's Mikey, Michael Furman. How are you?
Doing better. This is what our air quality looks like right now.
Oh, wow.
Looks very
From
shiny.
all the fires that are going on here in Northern
Oh,
California.
man. You're having
Looks
like
very
multiple.
They're telling us to stay inside, and guess what that means? I
Stay-
get to hang out with you
Stay
guys.
inside. Hey,
Sorry.
Get to. That's a good way of wording it.
story.
hey, Greg is here too. Greg's the guy who I got the system from today. Hey, Greg, how you doing? It's
Oh, nice.
He's literally my neighbor. A guy whose name is so nice, we must say it thrice. You know him, you love him. It's
Rhoda.
How
Hello,
you doing,
everybody. If you were on to gaming, today's gonna be a great show for you. We have lots of info for you.
all right. Barry just joined us on Facebook. A guy who's most known for saying
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
is also created Temple of Ram in Shanghai and Bomb Threat in his latest release we'll hear about today, which is OmniStar. Legendary game designer Rick Adams is with us. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you're relatively kind.
That's
a
because
distortion.
It's because
It's
it's
a distor-
2020.
Yes, yes. A guy who gets a lot of stuff on eBay makes us all jealous. Brian Weasler's in the house.
Hello, all. Welcome to the show.
All right. Alan Murphy's here. How you doing, Alan?
Doing all right. Howdy, all you glorious cocoa nuts.
And the optimizer of ROMs, the distorter of my brain is here. James Diffendaffer. How you doing, James?
Don't bother me. I'm editing 6502 code.
You need an intervention, is my question.
The Thunder from Down Under, the guy who likes to say,
Oh, crikey.
and the author of this week's Game of the Week, Rally SG, Nicholas Marentes is here. G'day, Nick.
Hey, yo, how you doing?
All right, doing good, doing good. We usually
Sorry you
save
can't get
this.
through.
we
Why don't you
usually
leave your name and your number?
Yeah.
From the Italian part of Australia that's little known about.
We usually leave this guy for last because he is known as Mr. Enthusiastic, but he's going to be next to last because we have a special guest today. But you know him as
David Ladd.
David, are you excited to be here today? Are you enthusiastic about today's show?
Oh, I don't know. Today's show is going to be a fun-packed entertainment episode. And it's full of Dr. Pepper presented by Jason Reigard. Oh, yeah. Now, let's get on to Ken and let's see what we've got in store from him today.
All right. So you've heard from our regulars, and now we have our special guest today. We've been featuring a lot of his videos on the show. His YouTube channel is known as Canadian Retro Things. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Ken Waters.
Hey.
Thank you.
Nice shirt.
Yeah.
I was going to wear a different shirt, but then I thought that would confuse people.
Yeah, right.
It's got
Part of the Weird Al
on.
collection, isn't it?
Well, I guess a quick introduction of me is that my first foray into computers was back probably around really early 1980s. My mom was a teacher, and she was able to bring one of the Apple II Pluses home from her school on weekends.
Sorry.
I played a lot of educational games, mostly Oregon Trail.
Exactly.
I died of dysentery a lot.
I was just going to ask, did you die of dysentery? But it sounds like you did.
Many times. And,
Did your sister make it through okay, though? Or your daughter? Was it your daughter or your sister? I always forget. It was one of your...
And anyway, so then I moved up to getting a ColecoVision. And from there, my parents decided to get me my own computer. And since I really liked Radio Shack and the RC cards that you get from there, I chose a CoCo 2. And that started my love of all things Tandy, I guess. And then, it was kind of interesting growing up where I did. I knew a couple of people that had TRS-80 computers, a couple people that had Apple computers, but to this day, I have never physically been in a room with a C64.
Where are you at?
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in North Battleford, Saskatchewan.
Just over an hour from me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Never knew a single person that's owned a C64.
That's weird.
Yeah.
No, they all got married. That's why they're not single anymore.
So getting into the YouTube thing, it was kind of a shock to see how popular C64s were, but I'll stick with my Tandys.
Sure. How long have you been doing YouTube?
Just over a year and a about. Yeah, I would have started May of last year.
When did you kind of get back into it, or did you never leave? Did you hold on to all of your original stuff and still kept it around, or?
Unfortunately not. I got an Apple II GS eventually in the late 80s. Had that right through university. Finished up university. Said, well, my computers are old, so off to recycling with them and get on with life. And I'm really sad about that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who knew that 40 years later we'd be playing with them again?
Yeah, and who knew that to buy some of these things would be so expensive nowadays.
Right.
Hey, you went through that experience getting your CoCo 3, if I remember correctly. You were waiting for one at a decent price, and you had to wait quite a while.
Yeah.
Well, they've really shot up in the last couple of years, right? The prices.
I guess a lot of people are wanting to get back into their childhoods.
Yeah. You know, it's weird when you talk about how we give away our technology, but it's weird. When I was a kid, there were certain things I knew the word collector item because I was into comic books. And even when I was a kid in the 70s, there were vintage comic books that were older than me already. So I knew that there were certain things you wanted to hold on to because they would be collectible. And so that's why I still have like comic books and my old Mad magazines, and I kept a lot of things. So I figured these things are going to be collector's items. These things will be nostalgic and worth money, and I'll want to have them for my life. And so that to me made sense when it came to magazines and certain things, and like my old Dungeons and Dragons books and stuff. But never when I thought about computers at the time, this computer might be a collector's item. I don't know why, but we have just been so conditioned to electronics just being disposable commodities, and it's just, so this is the old tech, it's garbage it, and now let's get on to the new tech, and that's just the way it was, I think,
Well, oddly enough, when I got rid of all my electronics, I did actually hold on to a bunch of the manuals for the games. Don't ask me why, but I did.
Yeah. That's another thing I saved. Like, I've got all the strategy guides from all the games I used to play, like even back in the Windows 98 days. So I would buy strategy guides, again, as kind of collectibles. I've always liked to collect things, but it never occurred to me to collect computers when they were current, So, yeah. And how long have you been in the retro hobby, like playing with old things in the 21st century again?
Well, probably about 3 years ago, just for fun, I guess. My mom bought me one of those little 301 handheld game things, and it reminded me just how much I liked the old 8-bit games. And
yeah,
I started collecting, started watching YouTube, and then decided, what the heck, I may as well start a YouTube channel.
Did you run into us?
I think when I first put my MC10 video out, Curtis invited me to come watch the show.
Yeah, I don't think you'd seen us before then or even heard of us at that point, had you?
I hadn't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How about CoCo Face Group?
He's on the Facebook group now, right?
No, I had kind of looked it over a little bit, but never joined until fairly recently.
Yeah, and you're on our Discord now too, which is cool.
Yeah. I'm going full in.
Yeah. And so what are the current systems that you are currently owning and operating and doing YouTube videos on?
Ooh, let's see. I got my CoCo 3, CoCo 2, my MC10, a couple of Macintosh LC475s, an Apple IIc, a bunch of video game systems, ColecoVision, Atari, and Intellivision, Nintendo, bunch of handhelds.
All right, you got a nice
I like to do things on just about everything, but mostly my core is the Tandy stuff.
Very cool. And you do some of the hardware stuff too? You do like restorations or repairs and upgrades and things?
I try to. I'm not saying they're always successful, but I do try.
Okay.
Yeah, I know enough to tinker a little bit. I mean, I've never attempted to do anything like recapping an entire board or anything like that, but
What about programming?
I'm just getting back into that.
Yeah, we'll
Just basically, or
Yeah, just basic.
Did you do that back in the day?
Yeah, I did a little bit of basic programming back in the day. Tried to, but I was only about 11 or 12 when I was doing it, so my logic center wasn't working too well.
What did you think of the SDC when you found out about it?
I loved it. When I first got into the retro stuff, I wanted to be completely original. Disk drives, tape drives, everything else. But actually my first one was I got a disk emulator for my Apple. Then I got one for my Atari computer, and then the SDC for the CoCo. I've loved them all. They make everything so much more usable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're kind of like quality of life things as far as I look at it. It's like I like to run the real hardware, but when it comes to loading in software, there's got to be a better way, right?
Yeah.
And so using floppy disks and floppy drives and tapes and trying to amass hordes of cartridges, as much as it is great to want to, it's not always practical or affordable.
I still hoard all that stuff. I load it differently now.
Yeah.
Have you tried DriveWire?
I haven't yet. That's an upcoming project. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've scratched the surface with that, but
you need that for your MC10.
Yeah, I saw Stevie's show on doing that with his MC10, and
makes it much more usable.
Stevie just loves the MC10.
I do. I have said that for years. It's a fantastic machine.
I really enjoy the MC10.
He's also into OS 9.
OS 9 is an incredible operating system.
Don't watch any previous episodes.
Don't forget the trash can icon.
He's offered to help me write drivers now, so it's
MC10.
Awesome.
Yep, there it is. It was my first computer.
We definitely need more Canadians on the show, so that's the thing. So we're glad to have you there in that respect. So you got your CoCo 2, your MC10.
Requirements.
Yeah, CRT is going on there. Very
Plus,
nice.
the Australians are starting to outnumber us. We need as many as we can get in here. So.
Yeah, that Rally SG back there looks good on that CRT. There's just something about there's certain old tech for whatever reason just seems nicer than the newer stuff. You know?
It does. I especially find that with like my ColecoVision, my Intellivision.
Yeah.
The images are softer.
Yeah, I've run them through like the flat screen TV and stuff, but it just, I don't know. It feels like you're playing on an emulator.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. I've noticed that too.
Yeah, and not only that, but it also digital reveals certain flaws that you don't see in analog. You know,
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect marriage of the analog video output and the analog TVs and the CRTs and the scan lines and all that kind of stuff. It all just kind of worked in a way that it's just really hard to reproduce now for that same kind of feel. You know,
and you can't play Duck Hunt.
Yeah. The light guns don't work, right? So
yeah, even the CoCo light gun games don't work on it.
Yeah, so that's cool. So what are your plans for your channel? Like, what are some things that you haven't done yet, but you say I really would like to do X, Y, or Z?
I'm sure he would want to interview you, Steve.
I don't actually go into it with much of a plan. I kind of, when things come up and I can get them, then I just enjoy learning about them and sharing that.
No, cool.
And I mean, one of the plans right now, like it's going to be in the GameON news, is I am working on getting back into programming. So I'm trying to make my own game.
Okay.
Something I started 35 plus years ago.
Right. So you got a project now that'll keep you busy for a while, hopefully. Excellent.
Something that I'm hoping will lead to more projects in the future.
Very cool.
Yeah, and feel free to ask any of us any questions or anything. Keep the project your own, of course, as you discussed with Stevie. He kind of let his run away from him for a bit there, and you kind of had to rein it back in. But there's definitely a whole pool of knowledge here. There's a lot of experienced basic programmers, CoCo programmers, etc. So feel free to ask questions anytime you need.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And anybody who has any questions for Ken about his channel or any just comments or feedback on some of his videos you watch now's our time to kind of give him a pat on the back.
Are you still in Saskatchewan, or have you moved somewhere else?
No, I live around Vancouver.
Oh, excellent. You're in my time zone.
Port Coquitlam.
Yeah, I'm real close to Portland.
And
Cool.
is it smoky there too?
Oh, tremendously.
Yay,
Yeah.
West
I
Coast.
can't even see
dinner,
across the street right now.
smoke.
So
Yep.
Cool.
I really enjoy your videos. You take them at a nice pace. You're not rushing through it, and you take the time to kind of explain what you're doing as you're going through it and why you're doing it. So I think your videos are laid out very well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually on your videos. Do you kind of loosely script them before you do them, or do you just wing it the whole way through?
Do like if I'm ever doing any repair videos or anything, I kind of wing it because you never know what's going to happen. But I loosely script what I'm going to do usually, and if there's a information part, I fully script that.
Okay.
So you're not going to show us any blue smoke?
I'm lucky enough I haven't run into that yet.
I think your soldering skills are better than mine, where you don't solder your own hair, so that's always a good thing too. So.
Yeah, once you let the genie out of the bottle, you can't put it back. So.
Yep.
Cool.
And many of us have tried and failed.
Okay, we got a comment from 8-Bits in the Basement. He says, I like Ken's channel. The range is broad and the content interesting with a laid-back attitude. That's very cool. Dave and Sharon, Mr. 6809, or now Mr. 6309, he says, Ken, your CoCo vids are great because the melty keyboard.
My CoCo 2 has the melty keyboard.
Yeah, I like the melty keyboard. Yeah, okay.
I do too. It wasn't the original version I had back in the day. I had the CoCo 2 16K with the regular keyboard, but I do like the melty keyboard.
Yeah, I like the melty keyboard too. Kind of got maligned, but I liked it.
Yeah.
It's a workout for your fingers.
I mean, it's not as. I mean, the chiclet keyboard was awful on the CoCo 1, but I thought the melty keyboard was cool.
Yeah, it was a huge improvement when it came out, like the original 64K CoCo when it came out in '83 there with the melted keyboard. That was a huge improvement to the chiclet.
Yeah, I got that on my
later.
TDP.
All right. Well, we're going to be hearing more from you, Ken, in the Game On segment. So we're going to hear about your game project. But does anybody else have any questions or comments for Ken, a.k.a. Canadian Retro Things, before we're going to take maybe a brief commercial break, and then we're going to come back with Game On results? And the game of the week.
One.
Go ahead, James.
too.
Go ahead.
Did you ever locate a manual for that MC10?
No, I have not. Just the
If I
online
can
one.
find it, I have an extra one.
Oh, awesome.
I think I have an extra MC10 manual as well. So I'll keep an ear out.
Okay.
Sure.
So I want to hear from you, Ken. How did you come to find, and what do you like about the MC10?
Well, when I was first looking for, I wanted to get back into the Tandy computer, the TRS-80s. I happened upon it. I'd actually never seen an MC10 before. This was about just about over a year ago. Never seen one before, but it looked so familiar that I had to pick it up. Got it, brought it home, plugged it in, and immediately that green screen just hit me with the CoCo fever again.
It sucked you in, huh?
Yeah, so I started messing around with it, and I found, wow, for such a small little 4K computer, it's not bad.
Have you found Jim Gary's stuff? He does a lot of stuff with the MC10.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the guru, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think your project would probably be one that could be ported to the MC10 pretty easily because that screen mode is identical and the basic is pretty close. If you're not using things like get and put and the play command and you're just doing the screen graphics, the MC10 actually makes it easier to use the screen graphics because you have all these function keys on the keyboard and you can embed it right into your source code and make that part of the string that you print. So I'm looking forward to doing a simple kind of text graphic type game on the MC10 at some point too, you know, so.
Yeah, I want to get a drive wire before I attempt that, because I did attempt writing a game on the MC10, but typing it in on that keyboard was hell.
Yeah.
Challenge.
If you need help with high drive wire or MC, let me know.
All right.
Happy to help.
Mikey's the
Great.
guy who makes the server for that. So yeah. Yeah, one thing that I have an appreciation for is, we were just talking about this right before the show. You know, when we started this show 3 years ago, this was kind of a thing where we were just excited about CoCo Fest, and we were just kind of leading up, counting down the 3 or 4 weeks to CoCo Fest, and didn't expect that this show was going to just continue the way that it has. But unfortunately, when you only get together a couple times a year, you don't have that bonding, that sense of community isn't taking place as much. But since we started doing this show on a weekly basis, we've kind of got the more community cohesiveness going on, and then adding that Discord component too, where we've got our Discord server and there's conversations taking place constantly, and we've got so many people in there that are literal experts in all different areas. You got like your Dave Phillipsons and your Mr. Daves and Mikey's, and you got William Astle on the assembler side, and you've got so many people who are, you know, human authorities on a variety of subjects, and they're there at your fingertip. So not only is it a community, but it's a real-time resource to tap into. And so those things that have happened in this past 5 years, it's just been like, and I'm sorry, it's this bad timing for Mikey in the West Coast, but this has been kind of like a wildfire that spread, you know, but a good one, you know, not a bad one. So, you know, it's really cool how things are happening, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go. But so hopefully you're going to get, you know, you have access to lots of people. Like Jim Gary would be a great resource for questions about the MC10, and even just looking at his programs. And the thing that I would want to ask Jim myself when I'm ready to do something on MC10 is, how is he doing his coding? I know he's doing something where he's typing it in like on a notepad on his PC and then putting it into an emulator. But then what is he doing from that point to get it into hardware? How is he going from notepad to disk image or cassette image? So that final step is something that I would want to ask him when I'm ready to cross that bridge, and you'll probably want to know that same thing, you know. So
Yeah, actually, when I started, I did switch over to typing it in on the emulator and then saving it, and then you can change it into a cassette file.
Okay.
And then record it onto a cassette.
So
and
the emulator would be kind of the conduit to getting it onto the DriveWire server or whatever. In this case, it's the MC server. Okay.
Yeah, so I can.
Okay.
I did do a little bit of extra programming after I lost interest of typing on that keyboard, and just saved it onto a tape, and then loaded it straight from a tape drive.
Yeah. Hey, Chris Poacher on Facebook's joined us. He's in the Dragon group. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Cool. Well, we're glad to have you. We definitely we like your videos, and Curtis has been featuring them. So if anybody has not already subscribed to his channel, Nick posted a link to his channel. His channel on YouTube is called Canadian Retro Things. Make sure you, as we say, as us YouTubers like to say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Click that follow button. Hit that notification bell. It really helps, right? So,
what's your Patreon?
Hey Ken, do you know who Ed Snyder is?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he's in our inventor and stuff, and he's got the Gimme 10 that's coming out for the MC10. You'll have to wait for that one.
Okay.
What?
Just kidding.
Gimme X.
I said Gimme 10.
That's what X is the Roman numeral for, right?
Oh, you got me going there.
Yeah, me too.
Everybody's going, what?
Yeah.
Apparently
they have to get an MC10 now.
Fake news.
Yeah, it might be now, but you know what? If you think of it, he'll probably come out with something.
Sounds like Ron's been out in the sun too long.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother discussion that we should probably have one day. Is, you know, the quality of life things. You know, we have this saying: "There's no wrong way to CoCo," and if you want to be completely pure and nostalgic and stock and original, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does become space prohibitive and practical prohibitive on how many things you can do. But that's
cost prohibitive.
Cost prohibitive too, right? So, but if that's how you want to do it, that's fine. But I like a hybrid where I want to beat on the real machine, but I'm okay with a flash storage solution or an SD card storage solution where I can load software very quickly. To me, there's certain things that I consider to be enhancements to just the making using the machine in the 21st century a viable solution versus the old way. So
and as I mentioned before, that's the progress that CoCo was doing on its own when it was an active machine sold by Tandy. I mean, even Tandy added hard drive support to it because they wanted to speed up disk access and allow you to access more data at one time. So it's always been going in that direction. This is just a progress of that.
Hey, listen, Terry Steen just got here and he says, hey, I'm late. Start over, please. Hold on. We're going to roll the intro again real quick here.
There it is. Oh, okay. No.
All right. Sorry, Terry.
Thanks for coming to rehearsal, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Yeah. So to me, like you mentioned your video game systems too, like the Ataris and the Commodores and the Colecos. I have multi-carts for most of my systems, right? So I've got the one for the ColecoVision. I've got the one for the Atari. I've got, a few, and then the CoCo SDC is kind of like our multi-cart solution. So if you want to play the vintage video game system, but you don't have the luxury of collecting 250,000 cartridges for your Atari 2600, you can put all those games on a single SD card, plug in one cartridge, and play them all, And so I think most people who are doing the retro hobby are doing something like that. To varying degrees of success and user friendliness. From what I'm hearing, I have never used the floppy emulator like the GoTech, but supposedly the GoTech, it works, but it's not super user friendly. Whereas the CoCo SDC, especially now with its menu based system, it's super easy to use. So to each their own. All right.
But there's also to be said is for the box art and everything else when you're collecting, that's a big thing from back then, especially with Atari.
Yeah, that could be said true for like albums, Yeah. You want to collect albums for the album art and everything too versus a digital collection of music, right? So it's not, hey, you want to come in here and look at my iTunes library? It's really cool, right? Look at these thumbnails, right? So
we need a new Facebook group called CoCo Distortions.
All right. We are going to run a commercial break. And then we're going to be back with GameON results. So we're going to start off with we're going to replay an updated lost episode of the Fletcher commercial that we aired last week, and then we'll play something else, and we'll be back after these words, everybody.
Fletcher, I don't need that report tomorrow.
That's great, JT.
I need it tonight.
Oh, JT.
Fletcher saved over 300 clams, you dig, when she got her a Model 100 from Radio Shack, like a good little consumer. It's like a word processor, a phone directory, and dialer, you dig, man? And even can groove with your office computer.
That's a good Mitch Hedberg.
Fletcher, you'll go far, Fletcher. You'll go far.
And now these messages. It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
This year, I needed to give a real family pleaser.
Honey, please help me with this budget.
How about a new game, Dad? Please.
And I found it. Radio Shack's Color Computer 2. On sale for just $99.95. It entertains, educates, manages. It's expandable and affordable. Now that really pleases me.
The Color Computer 2. Sale priced for Christmas. Only at Radio Shack.
Hi, I'm Kieran Anscombe, author of XOR, and your brain is resolving sensory input into CoCoTALK.
At GSoft, we make games for the TRS-80 Color Computer, TRS-80 MC10, and Dragon computers. Our basic games cover the range of genres from arcade, to text adventures, to simulations, to 3D dungeon crawls. This is our latest puzzle game from Japan, Fruit Panic. So come on and drop by our website and download our latest games.
Tired of switching your joystick between the left and right port? Want to change between different controllers? Well, Joey has got you covered. The Joey Controller Switch. Take control of your controllers with the flip of 2 switches. Order today at cocoman.biz. And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. Legend says, when the moon is full, if you go out in the country by the lake and whisper the name of Nick Marotta 3 times, his spirit will appear and he will grant you a product idea.
Radio Shack has a great gift idea for the whole family. Fast action TV games, and they're on sale. Get this 6-game model for $29.95 or the 4-game model for $21.95. With rising entertainment cost, that's a real bargain. You play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy to hook up and great family fun that lasts all year long. The sale price TV games. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
Hi, I'm Terry Steen, author of Balloon Fire and other amazing games on the color computer. And you're listening to Stevie Stroh on CoCoTALK.
High Score Challenge with
Nick Marotta.
All right, welcome to another week of results. This week we did Rally SG with 24 scores submitted. Jason with 5. Mark Overhoser with 315. Catlord 525. R. Alan Murphy 620. Grant Lady 1720. David O'Connor 1735. Adam Tandy Dragon Guy 1780. Damon Beals 1865. David Ladd 1895. Tandy Color Computer 3, 2215. Jim Rye with 2885. Paul Shoemaker, 3085. Mr. Dave 6309, 3275. Tom C, 3505. Canadian Retro Things, 3715. Buck Owens, 4905. 8-Bits in the Basement, 5070. Me, 5295. Nick Marentes, 5,345. L. Curtis Boyle, 5,350. Frodo NL, 5,445. Kazman, 5,655. Ben VR Drake for 5,815. And the number one score this week belongs to Cargo with an impressive 7,360. Thank you again for a fantastic week and all the score submissions.
All right, congratulations, Cargo. Good job there, Nick Marotta, on that beat there.
The car did go.
Yes,
that's
it
right.
Certainly did.
At least it wasn't a Nova.
Yeah.
Nova, don't go.
That's it. Good game, Cargo. Frodo said good game. Yeah, good times. Fun game. I played it. I liked the game that Nick Marentes made here. This Rally SG.
Of course, it's an Australian invention.
So this is gameplay by Ben VR, who submitted this clip. So, okay, keeping in mind Nick is here, what did you guys think of the game? I thought it sucked. No, I thought it was amazing. I thought this is really a fun game, guys. If you don't have it, seriously pick up a copy.
Yeah,
I played this every day this week, which I don't always play the games every day during the week, but this one I did.
What is it like? It's quite a value price game too. It's
$5.
$5. Yeah, that's a bargain at any price.
For less than the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
You know, with
And
today's
it's not
rising
even written in
entertainment
BASIC.
costs.
So, yeah. So, what would you guys think?
With rising entertainment costs,
I really
that's
enjoyed
a
it.
real
Had a lot of fun
bargain.
with it. I didn't play it anywhere near as much as I wanted to. We had the something else going on this week that we'll be talking about later, but the time I did spend with it, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so
Did you have people playing it at the show? Just to we get a little bit ahead there, David, but just want to say if anybody got to try it that hadn't seen a CoCo before.
No, I did have it running there, but yeah, nobody actually. No, I had it running while I was setting up everything. So and we were doing other things later on. So nobody had a chance to play it there, but might do that next month.
Okay.
Funny thing, it didn't have any furniture.
So we actually have the author of Rally SG with us. He's here every week, usually. Nick Morantes, who wrote other fantastic games such as Popstar Pilot and Gunstar. And,
hello, everybody.
Nick, you're here to talk a little bit about Rally SG this week. So why don't you start telling us what made you decide to write this game?
Money.
We're sorry. How'd work it out for you?
Boy, did you need to buy a cup of coffee that bad, huh?
No, I don't do anything else. So, yeah, it was just a game. I normally do CoCo 3 games all the time. I tend to be biased towards the CoCo 3, but I thought I'll just take a step back and do something, show some love for the CoCo 1, 2, and make it also work on a CoCo 3 as well. And I chose Dragon, and I chose Rally SG, which is based on Rally X in the arcades, which is one of my favorite arcade games. So I thought I'll give it a try, and it was a challenge to try do a game, with color. It's a color computer, so I really wanted something colorful. And the whole idea of a large map scrolling around on the screen. I wanted that big map scrolling effect. And I did.
I can totally relate to this.
So did you learn anything new writing this game then? Like in terms of implementing like the big map, scrolling map in a low res, like was it a learning experience for you?
Well, I got a feel for what it's like coding at half the clock speed that I'm usually used to. So, and the half speed, the 0.89 megahertz, does restrict how much things you can do. One thing I wanted to do originally in the game is to have the scrolling to be smoother than what it is now by scrolling everything at 1 pixel position at a time. And it would have looked really good. And I did write it with that originally, but I just couldn't get the frame rate. And I went to Curtis for his expert optimization skills, and we sped it up as much as we could, but I just couldn't get the speed that I needed. So in the end, I had to make it entire byte movements just to get that scroll. It uses 32K of RAM to contain the map in memory, and then what you're seeing on the screen is a window to that big map, and moving that window to the screen and scrolling it was just too slow trying to do it a pixel position at a time. The semi-graphics also, the way the mapping works, did complicate things as well. It's semi-graphics, it has the advantage of giving you the 8 colors on a black background on the CoCo 1 and 2, but it has disadvantages in the way it's mapped is a little bit more complicated than a normal bitmap screen. So it required a bit more extra processing to get it to scroll at 1 pixel at a time. And I just couldn't get that frame rate that I wanted to get. So in the end, I just went for an entire byte.
Oh, it still looks good though.
Yeah. It would have been good pixel, but yeah.
It would have, but
the little window.
You mentioned the 0.89 megahertz. Couldn't you run like a CoCo? Even a CoCo 1 can run at double that. Oh, not double that.
No,
only in ROM mode.
Yeah, if you have a ROM cartridge, because ROM doesn't need to be refreshed, so it allows the CPU to go at the higher rate and the refresh of the video chip as well. But this is loaded in RAM. So,
okay,
0.89.
So tell me a little bit about the how you coded the intelligence of the enemies, because you said there's 2 or 3 different skill levels that they chase you at.
Yeah, well, the intelligence was mimicked off my own, which is why they move quite dumb. No.
An honest programmer. I like
You heard it here first, folks.
Like, how do they track you? How do they decide which way to go? That kind
Well,
of thing.
it's based on just a very basic X and Y. I mean, all the red cars have a X and Y coordinate, and your car has an X and Y. So basically, at the most basic, it says, okay, I've reached a point where I can't go further anymore, and I need to turn. Which turn will position me in the direction of the player's car? So it just does an XY comparison. If the red car is more to the right, it'll turn to the left type thing. But if I did that, 100% on every corner, the cars are just pounce on you. You wouldn't stand a chance. So there is a degree of randomness in there. So when it gets to a point where it can turn, it makes a random decision, and I vary the randomness. The lower levels of random is a higher random option in that, and the smarter you want it to be, you cut down and limit the random, and it makes a decision then. Do I do a stupid move or do I do a smart move? So, and that's how it tends to track you that way. And if you get the right random there, you get something that looks like it's intelligent.
Right.
At times, it surprises even me that sometimes I'm driving around and everything looks like I'm in the clear, and then suddenly there's 3-4 cars pounce at you from every direction. I'm thinking, how the hell did they work that out? And it's totally random, but yeah, just sometimes it just turns out that way. It's almost as if they've coordinated attacked you, and they come at you from every angle. So it does work out well, yeah.
So on their most aggressive level, you said there were 3 levels of intelligence for the AI?
You can. It's variable depending on what I set the higher the random setting.
So at the hardest level, what's the percentage that it will pick the right?
Oh, gee, now you're talking percentages. That's math.
Well, I figured you based the.
It's probably around 10%. Just guessing like that. So at 10%, 10% of the times it'll make a dumb move there, but 60% say, or 70% for the easier levels. So it tracks you roughly, but it does make a lot of bad decisions.
This is
Nick,
in retro games, by the way. This gameplay. Go ahead,
Nick. Have you actually seen this play on a dragon?
I haven't actually seen it. No, I had to give it to someone else who had a dragon to verify it works, and it does work on a dragon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other way, of course, that makes it hard, or easier or harder, is the number of red cars. The game supports up to 7 red cars chasing you in the highest levels.
6, isn't it?
So, 6, sorry. Yeah, 6.
Yesterday you said it was 5. You said 7. You'll get
I
there.
know.
It's an Australian 6.
Yeah.
Because you really get to that high level. But so on the easy levels, you only have 2 cars chasing you, and that gives you a bit more room to maneuver. But when there's 4 or 6, I think I've got the jump. It gets to be a bit cramped, and there is a high degree of luck in the game. Sometimes you're lucky and you'll just have all the flags that you're meant to collect, because they're semi-randomly allocated on the screen. Not totally random.
Did you weight them more heavily towards the bottom?
Well, actually, that's a bug. There was a bug in my random code which did that. So it wasn't as random as what I originally planned it to be. But then I thought, hey, this bug isn't too bad. It gives it a bit of. There was a bit of where you could sort of have an idea of where they could be, but it was random enough to vary it between levels. I thought, hey, I'll keep it. It's a feature.
Well, for the challenge stages, I tended to sweep the bottom first, hoping to find the majority of flags, and then I'd go up hoping to find the rest.
It does gravitate to the bottom,
That does give you a fighting chance in challenge stages, which
If it's totally random, it really does make it hard. So at least if they're semi-predictable, you've got a bit more of a chance. Or at least looking for the pattern. I mean, sometimes they're more towards the bottom, sometimes they're more towards the upper left. So basically, you can't find them in the bottom, try the upper left.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Well, it does move because, as I said, the random code is a little bit buggy, so it's not as random as what I want. But you do, after a while, see that there is a pattern. Sometimes they'll appear in one area more than others. So if it's not in one, try the other one.
Hey, Jason. Jason, you're from Ohio.
Yes.
You're from Ohio. Does the starting screen remind you of rally hamburgers?
Maybe a little bit. We don't have that in this part of the state, but I have seen them before.
Yeah. That's what I think of.
Yeah. So Nick, since you program the car's behavior, do they occasionally take a Vegemite break during the course of the day?
No, they have no breaks at all.
That's Australian.
So approximately how long did it take you to create this game?
What was it? About 3-4 months. Yeah. So it was a pretty quick one. I mean, the games aren't as big as my CoCo 3 games, of course, and I mean, the game itself, the code itself is only about 8K. Add the graphics in, there's only about 16K of RAM. It just uses 64K because of the size of the master map.
Okay.
And honestly, you would have had this done probably almost a month, maybe about 2 to 3 weeks faster if you hadn't tried to get the smooth scrolling to work. I mean, we spent a lot of time trying to get that to work.
I spent a lot of time because at the beginning, I really wanted that smoothness. And you know, I could do it, but I just couldn't do it in the time that I needed. The game would have ran at pretty well half speed. So I thought, I want the speed, man.
Keep in mind, if you're watching this, the video shows it off a lot jerkier than it really is in real life.
Oh yeah, no, the video's not showing. It is smoother than that.
Yeah,
it's not
smooth.
that jerky. No. The screen on the side there.
The author is
the radar. Yeah, he's a total jerk.
Hey, he's a guest right now. Be nice to him.
The radar display. Well, the one thing with the semi-graphics mode is you can only have one color plus black per byte. So as long as you design your graphics in such a way so that you don't have more than 2 colors in a byte, you know, you can get a pretty colorful display. The radar, though, I needed to have when the dots which signify the flags. Well, I had 3 dots I had to represent on that blue background. I had the black dots were the red cars. Your car is the big cyan one, and the flags. Well, what do I use for the flags? I mean, I had that blue background. So there was a color there already, and I was using black already for the red cars. I couldn't add another color unless I allocated it as an entire byte, which is what my cyan, my car is represented. That's an entire byte. But to have dots all being that size, the radar was either I have to make the radar wider, and that eats into my play area.
Yeah.
I needed a way where I can get 2 colors per byte, and what I did there was I flickered the colors between the blue background and the black, and that in most screens will show that up then as a dark blue.
Yeah, that was effective.
So it works perfectly on a CRT, on a fairly high refresh LCD. On some emulators and some LCDs, it doesn't work quite as well, but it was the only way I could squeeze in an extra color in the semi-graphics. So really the game has got 9 colors plus black.
9.
Yes.
9.
9.
If you want
You,
to.
you distorted the colors, what you're saying.
I distorted them. Yeah, sorry.
And the oil slick that it leaves behind, that's actually Vegemite.
It's actually a smoke.
Oh
screen,
yeah,
isn't
well,
it?
yeah.
Is that oil or
actually-
smoke?
It's smoke. It's meant to
Yeah.
be smoke. Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
Vegemite.
Well, it's brown, so it's shit. But there was no grey. The CoCo 1 and 2 didn't have a dark grey available, so it had to be brown. And actually the smoke screen is a very important aspect of the strategy of the game. I mean, not only does it get cars that are on your tail, gets them away. It's also a good way to control the red cars, because if you position yourself in such a way, let them follow you a certain point, and at a certain turning point, if you let off the smoke just there, it diverts the cars and makes them go in the direction you want them to go, because they're trying to avoid the smoke, but you don't want them to follow you. You can actually divert them and guide them elsewhere. So that is a strategy that you can use, the smoke. So the closest you have to a gun in this game.
That's courtesy of David Ladd.
Were there any balloons in this game?
No balloons. No,
Okay.
There's no popping, and there's no stars.
Are there any angry donuts?
No angry donuts.
No dilemmas.
No guns, no pops, no stars.
Okay.
What's the one question I do have? What's the difference between the different coloured dots there? There's red dots and yellow dots. Is that just different amounts of points, or?
Good question.
That's
actually a
you mean
good
the
point.
flags.
The flag.
Red flag.
The flags. Sorry, yeah.
The flags, yeah. The yellow flags are the normal flags, and you get I forget the scoring I have, but whatever the score is, each yellow flag adds to the last yellow flag obtained. If you get the one red flag that's on there, it's a special flag that then doubles the points for every subsequent flag you get. So instead of getting, an extra 10 for every flag, you now get an extra, say, 20 or whatever for every flag.
Yeah, there you go.
So
There's the 5
it's a strategy. Ideally, if you can get the orange flag as soon as you can, then all your points are higher because of that.
Yeah, that actually.
It's like a bonus multiplier.
Yeah, it's a bonus multiplier. Yeah.
That actually added a greed factor, which I liked, because I was driving. I usually sweep the top, like I said, or actually at the beginning of the normal levels, I go up to the top and let the cars disperse a bit. But if I see a red flag, I might go out of my way to grab it. So that's a good greed factor, which is part of a good game design.
On the early level, on the very first levels where there's only 2 red cars, what I tend to do is I try to not get the yellow flags straight away. I quickly try to do a drive around, avoiding the yellow flags until I find the orange flag, and then I get the yellow flags. But you can't leave that for too long, because you're burning fuel while you're doing that. So you have got a bit of time to quickly find the orange flag first, and then get the yellow flags to get a higher point.
And the smoke also uses fuel.
Well, yeah. So
I've run out of fuel before.
That's right.
I have run out of fuel.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Should we be listening to Nick for play through optimizations, like how to play the game better when he didn't even get in the top 5 in his own game?
Ouch!
That was a hot one.
Oh well, for that I'm not going to tell you the cheat mode.
What was your score? What was your score, Curtis? I can't remember.
I beat Nick by 5, and that was by coincidence. That wasn't planned.
So how did Jason get 5 points? Did he just get one flag and die? Was that?
Well, exactly. That's exactly what I did.
You were going for the low score challenge. You got the lowest possible score. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. For the lowest possible score, you have to. My tips are to get one flag, and then immediately just keep hitting the smoke screen until you're just about out of fuel, and then just run into one of the red cars.
He just likes having his name read first.
Well, no, it's actually better to get all the flags, but leave one, die, and then start the level again so that your fuel counter is on max, and then get that last flag, because then you get the entire bonus for that level.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
No.
But
See,
you
we're
sacrifice your
going
life
for
for
opposite levels here. We're
You can only
going
do
for
that
opposite
3 times,
things here.
so.
Yeah. And originally I thought, oh, that's a bug. I can't have that. But then I thought, well, okay, you do gain some extra points, so that could be fun trying to do that. You do lose a car, though. So there is a price to pay for that. So I left it in. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, I tried to put little tricks like that in there, little tricks that you can gain extra points on to make it interesting.
Nick,
And
would
originally
you call that color pink on the curbs like?
It's magenta, actually.
Magenta?
Well,
Okay.
that's its proper. Yeah, I call it pink as well.
Okay, because some of the streets around here, they're painted red on the curb because they don't want you to park there. But the sun is so terrible here that it turns to pink just like that. So it looks kind of familiar to me.
Fuchsia.
We have a comment from Frodo in the chat too. He says, "I'm glad you left out the rocks," which of course was in the original Rally X.
Yeah, there's no rocks. Well, in the original Rally X, the roads were wider. Well, or rather, you could have wider roads, so there was a more open space. So if you had rocks, you could go around the rocks. But my roads are all one lane, so there'd be no room to get around a rock. So I thought, I better leave that out. That'd be too hard fast.
So we're saying that Rally SG doesn't rock.
It doesn't rock, no.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff.
All right. Well, thank you for answering the questions. And seriously, this is one of the best games. You've written really, really great games. This is one of my favorites, though, for sure. It's really, really fun.
I was going to ask if Ken, if he's still on too, what his thoughts of it was, because this was, I think, one of the first new CoCo games he's purchased probably in 30 years.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Rally X was definitely one of my go-to games back in the day. So if it wasn't Ghosts and Goblins in the arcade, it was Rally X. So
cool.
As I see you're running in the background there too. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I only had my Black Beauty to play on, though, which I think is a little harder than a self-centering joystick.
Yeah.
I used the gamepad. This game screams for a gamepad.
Oh, one thing I did find was with talking of joysticks I played it with the deluxe joystick as well on self-centering mode. You have to have the trims set perfectly, otherwise if you don't, it'll turn a certain direction when the stick's in the middle.
Oh, it already. Yeah, it always turns automatically.
It always turns, yeah. I mean, that's how the original was as well. The car by itself, if you do nothing, it will always drive straight, and if it hits a wall, it always turns right.
Okay.
So, I mean, right now it's in demo mode. If you watch it, I think, maybe not. No, I think
this is the gameplay.
Yeah. If you let it go, it just drives straight and turns right every time. Yeah, so the car never stops. The car doesn't stop.
But David is right. I mean, because you have a very tight center point where you switch between what direction you're going. If you adjust those pots a little bit on the deluxe joystick, you can get it to favor going a different direction.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you could compensate for that by widening that dead point even more. But I don't know. It's just trying to get the best balance. You didn't want to be swinging the stick so far just to go left and right. You want to have a bit of control in the middle. So
which is critical if you're trying to quickly change directions. You can throw a smoke screen at one of the cars and then immediately flip around the other direction again. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I use a Wyco digital stick, and it works well on that. So that's what I'm used to anyway.
Yeah, and it worked good in the deluxe when I was playing. So
yeah.
So have you sold a few copies, Nick?
Oh yeah, it sold over 50, so it was good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, not bad for a little $5 title.
Yeah. Oh, it's excellent value for the Resi cost of entertainment.
Yes,
that's right.
It's a real.
That really is a real bargain.
The red cars in there too. They're Ferraris, of course.
They're all my Ferraris, all 4 of them.
Yeah, it's a little known, but Nick actually did some intensive 3D modeling based on his Ferrari collection to draw the cars for this. So.
Actually, there was a fair bit of modeling because trying to get the colors within the semi-graphic mode's color limitations, I had to really struggle a bit to get the best looking cars. So
yeah, I remember some of your prototypes when you were first doing it.
Yeah, I had some better looking cars, but they only look good when they drive in, say, the horizontal position. As soon as you went vertical, all the colors went all over the place. So yeah.
Or the proportions went way out.
Yeah,
so
or the
it looked like a
proportions
different
went
car.
out. Yeah, it's the semi-graphics isn't a perfect mode, but it is the an 8-color mode for the
Oh, it's
CoCo
beautiful.
1 and 2.
Beautiful
So-
number of colors for sure.
Now,
Yeah.
this mode here, could you have done text? I know for CoCo 3 it wouldn't show up, but could you have put text in this mode too, or does that only have to be in
No.
SG24?
Only
No, it works. It works
no,
on this, but only on the CoCo 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, on the CoCo 1 and 2 it does. On the CoCo 3 you've only got text when you use SG Semi-Graphics 4, which is your normal text screen on the CoCo. But any of the other Semi-Graphics modes you can't put text on a CoCo 3. So hence
Until the
why
Gimme X. The Gimme X actually does fix that, but that's not up yet. So.
Yeah. So hence why all my graphics are, all my text rather is graphically drawn.
Mhm.
So
I
that
like
it works
that.
on a CoCo 3. The
I
problem
like your
is
number font. I like the font you use for numbers.
it's not bad. It is big. It's as small as I can make it. I mean, there are higher SG Semi-Graphics 24, but that's only higher vertically. It doesn't give you anything extra horizontally. So,
Right.
and that's also why the score displays are only 4-digit, because I couldn't get more digits in.
Yeah, that's right. You left a note during the show during the week in case anybody rolled it. The screen at the
Well,
score
this
was white.
yeah, I
If
wanted.
it,
I was always
10,000.
wary that someone might be really good and might roll the score. So yeah, what happens after 9999? Well, it goes back to 0, obviously. So the game itself actually is recording a 5-digit score. So although it'll be showing 0, it will have an extra digit which you can't see. And what the program does is when that happens, it changes the color of the score to let you know that, yep, you are actually, in a
10,000 plus. Yeah.
score. Yeah, exactly. So, but no one's gotten to that point, so that's all right.
My vote is Cargo will do it first.
I
he's about
watched him-
70% there.
Yeah, I watched him play. He's very good, but yeah, I think getting 999 might still be a struggle.
Yeah.
It's
I
got
noticed too that
12
the,
levels. Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, that's right. I
Go
was going
ahead,
to say
Nick. Oh, go ahead.
as far as scrolling was concerned, the vertical scrolling is actually is smoother than the horizontal
Oh,
scrolling.
yeah. And it could be even smoother because you can vary the vertical res in semi-graphics and go for a really fine vertical scroll. You just couldn't get that in horizontal. Horizontal is well, I'm doing byte movements, which is 32 characters. But even if I could do pixel, the absolute minimum, that's 64 pixels. That's what I was trying to get originally, but you can't get anything less than that. And if you don't have your vertical and horizontal scrolling the same, then what happens is that your game looks like it goes fast in the horizontal, horizontal and slow in the vertical.
And that's kind of like Death Trap had a little bit of that, because it's easier when you're just doing a vertical shift of bits versus having to do horizontal shift. So
because vertically you're just shifting bytes.
You're shifting entire bytes at a time.
No, so you can get
horizontal.
very
You're
smooth
shifting by bits. So.
Vertical, and this is why I've used Semi-Graphics 8, because the pixels are relatively square. I think it's a 64 by 64 matrix for the pixels. So that gives you a squarer pixel and allows for that scrolling to be equal. If you look in the radar, that's the size of 1 pixel. Those
Yeah, you want that for the radar to be nice.
Yeah, and I want it for the radar as well. But this mode takes up 2K of RAM, so it's fairly economical as well.
So, gaming kind of design question. If the vertical scrolling is slower, could you do like a ortho display and automatically make it look proper?
You
XY
could.
versus...
You can just write in your vertical graphics would be written up 4 times versus just the once.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking it would naturally look slower up and down.
Yeah.
So if you just kind of tipped your graphics over to make that appear to be some kind of ortho projection or something, it just works. You know?
Yeah, it's possible, but there are some problems. I wanted to keep the frame rate to be the same and do the same amount of processing for whether it's going vertical or horizontal. So hence I went for something that was
kind of a
same for
consistent feel.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have to slow one down or speed another one up and speed as I said.
I mean, it works. It works. And at the end of the day, is the game fun to play? And this game, the answer to this is absolutely.
Very.
And I think the lo-fi, fat pixels really help sell this as a retro game. It looks good. So the big, nice, square, blocky pixels and the fonts and everything, it all it looks as good as it feels, and it plays as good too. So it really is kind of like the perfect storm of.
It looks very Atari VCS.
Yeah.
So pick up your copy from nickmarentes.com. I highly recommend this.
Yeah,
he needs more Ferraris, folks. So
well, that's right. I want to get the 6 Ferraris.
For every copy sold, you can get another jar of Vegemite. So,
and this toy box isn't full yet.
Anything else you want to say, Nick?
Toy box garage.
Anything else you want to say, man?
No, that's about it. I'm done.
Far out.
Well, thank you. Thank you for this game. It's seriously awesome.
Cool.
I'm strangely hungry for a burger now.
Yeah. So Nick Marota.
Yes, sir. Are we ready?
We ready to reveal what the game of the week next week is going to be?
I am. And this is going to step on Curtis a little bit, but next week's game will be Digger 3.
Digger 3.
Released by Chet just a couple days ago. Actually, yesterday, I believe.
Early,
yes. Oh, I hate when that menu comes down. This is actually a free game. There's a screenshot.
Probably one of the best CoCo 3 games we have seen in a long time.
I would rank this in the top 10 CoCo 3 games, period.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah.
Maybe top 5, actually, maybe.
Yeah, so this game's available for free. And to get it, you go to the TR City Color Computer channel. Under Files, you'll see digger3.disc. Just download that. Rename it for your SDC because it's actually 9 characters. So just rename to Digger numeral 3 maybe. And
this is on Facebook, by the way.
Yeah, this is on. Did I say what did I say?
You said Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Facebook. Go to Facebook. TR City Colors Computer Files. And
I don't know if he submitted it to the archive yet. Like I know the archive sometimes takes up to a week to get new uploads put up, so hopefully it'll be there as well. But
yeah, so it's basically we'll start from level 1 always and just get as far as you can and record your score because this game actually has a password system where you can start from any level, but we'll start from level 1 and just get as far as you can and record that as your score.
Yeah, Brian Weasler just
system
posted
requirements too. It requires a CoCo 3 as Nick said. It requires 512K,
6809.
6809.
So
you're currently it also only gives you a decent display on an RGB monitor or emulator with RGB. It does not have a composite mode.
Oh, correct. Yes, you need RGB.
Except if you're on a PAL CoCo 3 because it takes the composite signal from the RGB.
Yes.
Thanks for rubbing that in, David.
That was a design decision by Chet. So he says RGB. So
RGB for the win.
There's a reason for that. The subtlety of the colors, like for example, the blues. For example, there's dark blue, medium blue, light blue on RGB. In the composite, we have a ton of greens on the CoCo. There's like 7 or 8 I would call green, but there's only 2 real good blues, and the rest are getting into cyans and stuff. So a lot of the subtle shading he's got, for rocks and the background and stuff, you can't quite duplicate properly on composite no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, this is beautiful. The video display might not be serving it justice, but the graphics are gorgeous.
No. This thing to me looks like it could be on a Super Nintendo. This looks like a 16-bit game.
Or an Amiga or Atari ST.
Yeah.
Like even the animation when he runs and the animation is just great. And special thank you to Chet ahead of time. We'll be talking more about this next week, obviously, but thanks to Jeff for releasing this game and making it free.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Who was going to speak?
I think it was James.
James, wasn't it?
I was just going to say it kind of reminds me of Lemmings.
Oh yeah, or Lode Runner.
One other thing I'll mention too, because there's no documentation for it really, is that it will play on keyboard or joystick. But on the keyboard, in order to get it to play easier on your hands on a real CoCo keyboard, it's not the 4 arrow keys to move. Left and right arrow moves your left and right, spacebar digs, but A and Z, or A and Z, depending on where you are, is your up and down. So if you want to play on keyboard, I find it easier to play on keyboard than joystick. You just remember that's your up and down. That's not a standard for most CoCo games.
And what's the key to turn on the background sound effects to? Was it S or M?
I don't think that works anymore. I think he disabled it on the final version because he actually used the extra RAM that he was using for those sound effects for some of the extra levels and stuff that come up later. So
yeah, he squeezed every bit of RAM he could out of it.
This uses the entire 512K now.
Oh wow!
So you're getting your money's worth if you have 512K.
Yeah.
There's not a single K. Well, I don't know if that is true, but it's virtually fully used. All right, so that'll be our...
Looks great, plays great. This is a game to make you proud to own a CoCo 3.
Less filling.
And I won't be getting any sleep.
Oh, keep in mind there are hearts for extra lives, too, so you definitely want to grab those. All right.
Sorry?
There's hearts for extra lives, so you definitely want to grab those.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on later levels, it gets to be puzzly because you have to figure out how do I dig in certain things. And also you can dig sideways, which is necessary on later levels. To be able to figure out how to get to certain gold or get to certain hearts or even just to get through a level type thing. There's also like vines that kind of hide things behind it that you can crawl behind. Sometimes there's like rings and gold and stuff you can barely see. So you have to kind of keep an eye out for that too. It's a really extravagant version of Lode Runner. It's so far past Lode Runner.
All right, so that'll be our game for the week. And again, I look forward to pick up your copy from Facebook for now and or keep your eye on the archive. And I look forward to seeing what you guys are able to do with it. Thanks,
excellent.
Scott. Thanks again.
Excellent.
Stop right there.
Thank you for sharing there. Okay, so Mark Overholzer is leaving us. Thank you, Mark, for being here. Thank you for 50 people for watching us live right now. Thank you, and we're sorry. Canadian Retro Things is still here. Ken is here. But Rick Adams is here, too. So how about we hear from Rick Adams, because Rick Adams has also released a new CoCo game this week, a project he's been working on for quite a bit. So welcome, Rick.
Hello. And I've been working on it for, it looks like about a year and 3 months. And so of all the games that I had in my head back in the day, back, 30, 40 years ago, we all know about, Temple of Ram and Shanghai and Bomb Threat, which actually was finished. But there was also OmniStar, which was just sort of a general idea, and I had sort of a proof of concept done, but hadn't gotten beyond that. So, and like Bomb Threat, there's no way that I could ever find the source to what I started with. So I had to start completely from scratch again, and not only had to fill in what I had, but then I had to sort of make a complete game after that. So it's sort of a command line interface hacker type game. You're hacking into this computer system and trying to bring down the bad guys. Sort of a cross between Hunt the Wumpus and Dungeons of Daggerith. And so I finished that off, and the thing that really hung me up the longest was the end game. There's no way I could make the end game after you've been battling this computer system for so long, trying to make it go down. Once it goes down, what kind of ending would you put on it that would be really satisfying? And I did the best that I could, but I don't know that it's all that satisfying. It's I joked about, you're going to get to the end of the game and it's going to say, Yay, you won. Now go back to your life.
Right. Nothing to see here.
Right. So actually, people have played it, an earlier version of it that was a little less elaborate at CoCo Fest, and a few people won it there without notes, which I thought was pretty impressive, because I really expected it to take several days and people to be whipping out pieces of paper and writing down notes of what does what and all that sort of stuff. Because when you go into the game, you're not given a whole lot to go on. There are instructions that give you some pretty good hints, and you should read that carefully. But other than that, you're pretty much thrown into the deep end of the pool, and it's up to you to figure things out. You're presented with a login screen, and it's like, well, that's great. How do I log in? What accounts are there? It's like, who knows? So you have to sort of guess and blunder around and do the best as you can. But the finished version that I came out with like a couple of days ago, I did have some people playing it just to see if they could find bugs, and that doesn't tend to work very well. What really brings out the bugs is if your game is in the GameON challenge. Then they will. Then it will get a really good workout. So Paul Fiscarelli has played it to the end, and he sent me a screenshot of the screen that you get at the end, and which he is keeping under his hat because it has, as a reward, it has a very silly message that it gives you. Okay. And if you get to the end, you will recognize that message, and you will go, "Oh yeah, you're Rick, you idiot." But that's for me to know, and Paul Fiscarelli to know, and for you to find out at this point. So it's kind of interesting since you log in, and there are all these programs that are left behind by fellow hackers that have broken in before and lost the game, theoretically. And what do all these programs do? And you have to, put them in your inventory, and you have to execute them and see what happens when you fire this thing off. Something good, something bad, who knows? And you'll find out. So what do we do when people are playing this thing over a period of time? Is there going to be online discussion boards where people say, okay, here's a list of all the programs and what they do, and the best strategies? And it's like, what sorts of things are people going to do, and what's going to be spoiling the game, and what's going to be fair play? I really don't know how that's going to shake out. It's kind of an interesting question. And then you can get to the end, and you can get the end screen, which I tried to make as satisfying as possible, but I don't think it's all that. Playing the game is sort of like the journey is the fun part, and the end game is not that exciting. But what would happen if you take a screenshot of that and just like post that on Facebook? It's like, well, there, you don't need to play the game anymore, So that's all kind of interesting to me. So with this game being finished, that wraps up all the games that were in my head back in the day are now done. And now, what do I do now? So I'm gonna have to work on that. Are we going to put this in a cart? Well, maybe not. I'm not really sure about that. I'm not sure that all of the code is positioned independent. I caught some code that wasn't, and so it makes me wonder if I got careless when I was writing it, and not all the code is positioned independent code. So that would make it difficult to put in a cart. So I'd have to find all that and root that out. I'd have to sweet talk Joel into doing some art for the cartridge. But at this point, and the other nice thing is that I've got it on the direct download site, the itch.io site. So if you go to rickadams.itch.io, you'll find my games there that are available for direct download. And the nice thing about that is that once you've bought the game, then if I come out with another version of it that fixes some bugs or adds a feature, you can come by. Since you've already bought the game, you can just drop by and pick that up for nothing. So that would be awesome. And so that's what's happening with that. So any questions or anything you might want to say at this point?
I play tested an early version of the game, and I was able to finish it before there was an ending. I love the idea. I love the concept of it. It is definitely different. It's cerebral, and it is still visual. There's enough visual to make it not completely, text oriented. But I love the whole kind of hacker idea of, I don't know what's going on. What do I do? And that would be what would happen if you were trying to break into another system. You want to shut down Evil Corp, but how do I do it? Now that I'm inside, I have to sneak around and figure things out, right?
Yep.
That premise is
I should
cool.
have called it Evil Corp. That's not a bad name.
So, if I'm not mistaken, I think one of my suggestions of maybe you still have in there was, because it's like a terminal, I asked you if you could have an up arrow repeat where,
I did that.
Yeah, you did that, and so that's still there. So that's one of the things, because the screen layout very much reminded me of working like on an IBM PC. And so when you're used to working on those systems, you're used to hitting up arrow, even in Linux or anything else. You're used to being able to repeat your last command. So I remember that was one of my early feature requests. So hopefully that's still in there. And
it is in there.
And I look forward to playing the official completed version now too. So very cool.
So we should mention the system requirements too. So it's a CoCo 3 game.
Oh, good point.
It requires RGB because you're using 80 column by 225, I think.
Right. RGB. And you need a godly monitor because the resolution is quite something. If you tried this on composite or composite, whichever, what is the proper pronunciation of that? I've always no idea.
Depends where you are.
If you say Z,
anyway,
it's composite.
It's blurry.
Either one you would not have a good time. I'm quite sure. If you got artifacting involved, it would just be horrendous.
Yeah, they're using the 640 resolution mode, right? So it's super high.
So you need a really crispy monitor. Yeah.
Now, does it run in 128K or does it need 512 or?
That's a good question. I've never looked to see how big it is right now. I doubt you need all that much. I'll have to take a look. That's really something that people should know. So I'll figure that out.
You can just sell it with an upgrade, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think it needs all that much.
Are you going to release a version of it on cassette with bonus 3 Dog Night track on it?
You could have that playing like
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Yeah.
That could be the loader music, while it's loading the game.
Audio on, motor on.
Well, congratulations, Rick. Another fine quality product from legendary game designer, from the mind of legendary game designer Rick Adams. His latest.
Yeah, and it's in the GameON news, so we'll show a screenshot just so people know what we're talking about as well. So
Right. I've sold a grand total of 10 copies so far.
Okay, I'll have to get on there later.
That Ferrari is not far behind.
Well, it only released a couple days ago, right? It's only been like 3 days, 4 days. It's only been like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And this is the first, besides your Facebook post, I think the first really public announcement about it. It's you mentioned Discord and stuff, so this hopefully will.
Discord and Facebook and the mail list.
All right. Well, now that it's aired on our show, expect 1s to 2s more sales out of this. So
Right.
You might want to move your car to the driveway to leave room for the money truck to back up.
That's right.
Oh, excellent.
It's kind of interesting thinking of the pricing structure on this direct download site. They have all kinds of different ways that you can price it. And one way, originally, I had it. It was a suggested price of $15.
Okay.
But it was loose. It was like, if you want to pay 20, if you want to pay 5, if you want to pay 0, that's, go right ahead. So, and then a few days after that, I changed it to, well, no, you have to pay a minimum of 15. If you want to pay me more, that's fine, but
okay.
But a minimum of 15. So it turned off the option of paying 0. And I'm making less now than now that I've made that change. So I kind of wonder if there's some sort of psychological effect there. It's like, I could have it for free, but that makes me feel terribly guilty. So who knows?
Yeah, that's
Interesting
really
you-
going off the Guiltware model.
Yeah.
Interesting you mentioned that too. I found a similar thing with my music, with selling albums. I put them on Bandcamp, and you can actually put up there on Bandcamp that people can pay whatever they want, or you can set a minimum price or a higher price. And at first, I had all my albums up there for $10 as a minimum price, and people could pay more if they wanted to. And then I dropped it down to $7, and it's only $3 difference. But I had people paying more when I had it listed for less than what I did when I had it listed for more.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All the psychology involved.
Absolutely. But I think the community is pretty good at supporting people's endeavors when we're working on projects. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. That trip to Duluth is not far away.
Now, Rick, you had to go early, I think, didn't you? You'll not be staying to the end of the show, or are you staying? Or
I won't be staying till the end of the show. I don't know how long I'm staying.
Okay.
So
well, the reason I asked that is because I did have a real quick update that I was going to mention during the updates and acquisitions.
Oh, okay.
But because you're on the show, Rick, I figured it might be worthwhile just doing a quick mention of it now, and you know what it is because I mentioned it to you during the week.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know if I can't see the screen share there, Stevie, so I'm not sure what people are seeing, but if they're seeing my
you.
Arrived in the mail a couple of days ago is this cassette. Whoops, let me hold that up again from Rick Adams.
First annual fair, Isaac Talent Show, musical acts, May 21st, 1982.
Yep.
Yeah. So and it's on a nice Maxell Chrome cassette.
Ooh.
So yeah.
material there.
So yeah, I haven't played the Three Dog Night track on this one yet, but but no, it's I'm looking forward to actually putting that in and
Is this the
transferring
same or similar one that you'd also sent to Neil to digitize for you?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the second go round for this, and you'll do it. It's like I am not an audiophile enough to be able to tell the difference between the sound quality between one attempt to pull this music off of that and the other, but other people might be. So that's.
Yeah, and my specialty is I worked as a mastering engineer for a number of years, and I still do mastering these days. And I've got a love of old retro technology. Obviously, I'm on this show, and cassettes is a big part of that. And I always used to like to try and get the best I could out of cassettes. So I've got the really high-end Nakamichi cassette decks and whatnot here. So it'll be a really interesting challenge to see if I can get the absolute maximum possible quality off this cassette.
Right.
And
he wanted to take a crack at it, and and it's like it's going to be fun for him. So I decided just to do this. So it's fine.
This is where we heard the blues song before, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was good. You have real promise. Okay.
You'll go far.
You'll go far, Rick Adams.
You'll
go far, Rick Adams. All right. Well, we have GameON news. We've got Ken's going to talk about his game. But how about we do this? We're going to take a quick commercial break. And Ron Delvaux, if you need to go potty, now's your time to do that. And then we'll be back. We're going to hear about Canadian Retro Things Basic Project. We got some more gaming news, more to talk about after these words. So everyone's favorite, CoCo Do, to play us through the break.
CoCoTALK will return after these messages.
CoCo 2, c'est le coq champion, des micros et dans le pion. Pour le jeu, il est pas battable, les études, c'est pas disable. L'expansion, il a ça, les commandes, tu vas voir ça. Notre CoCo est programmable, pour tes cours, c'est bien serviable. CoCo 2 de Radio Shack, ton affaire est dans le sac.
Un ordinateur couleur qui a de la personnalité. Le CoCo 2 de Radio Shack. On solde pour Noël à partir de 149,95.
CoCo 2 de Radio Shack, ton affaire est dans le sac, c'est toi et CoCo 2.
And now, CoCo Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. If you're using your color computer in Quebec and it stops working, is it now a CoCo won't do?
Hi, Ron Delvaux, Timberman, Coco Fest, CoCoTALK.
In a world where RGB produces black and white video, one cable can make a difference. Switcheroo. CoCo3ScartCable.com.
Hey, have you got your CoCo 3 yet? Hi, this is Rick Adams, author of Temple of Ram and Shanghai, and you've tuned into CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy color computer.
What's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here, and if you're a fan of vintage computing and retro gaming, then you're going to love our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. There you will find custom designs by Instagram artist Joel M. Adams. You can get I'm a Coconut, CoCoTALK, and other cool video game images on a t-shirt, coffee mug, or mouse pad. So if you love retro, then head on over to the retro swag shop at 8bit256.com today. Tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you.
Radio Shack's store-wide manager's red tag sale is on now. We've slashed prices 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Save on famous Radio Shack hi-fi, car stereo, radios, toys, TV games, calculators, walkie-talkies, and CB radios. Look for the big red tag. Save like never before on these and literally hundreds of red tag specials. Hurry into Radio Shack today.
Hi, this is Randy Kindig of the Floppy Days podcast. I just love me some CoCo, and nobody covers it better than Steve Strobridge. You're listening to CoCoTALK.
And we're back. Hopefully Ron Delvaux has fully evacuated everything. And we got more gaming news to talk about. Our special guest today, Ken Waters, a.k.a. Canadian Retro Things. So tell us about what you got going on, and feel free to screen share, or if you need to point us to a YouTube video to play, or whatever you want to do.
Well, basically, like I was saying earlier, I got my first CoCo 2 when I was, 11 or 12 years old back in the early 80s. And I tried to make a game back then unsuccessfully. So I've picked up that again and am going at it again. It's basically a alien attack game. Aliens have attacked Earth and completely wiped out most of the human race. You're the commander of the last surviving base, and you've got to hold the aliens off long enough to allow escape ships to get away. And so you start out, it's just kind of like Space Invaders type. Ship at the bottom of the screen shooting aliens as they come down. Once enough of them landed, it's going to go to the second stage, which is fighting the aliens in the corridors of the base to, people escape. So,
it's a pretty unique premise. Alien invasion is something
unique.
that hasn't been done too much. So yeah.
One of the things I really liked about it when I designed it when I was a kid, one of the limitations I found originally trying to do it is I could only get the ship to fire one bullet at a time. So I decided I'd work that into the game, and so when you fire a bullet, it won't kill the aliens. You have to actually detonate the missile in the air to destroy them. So that got me around the.
That is a neat feature. Yeah.
Yeah, it got me around the problem of having more than one missile on the screen at a time. Basically, you hit the fire button once to fire, a second time to detonate it. And
cool.
So you're kind of like launching an explosive device, but it's not.
You're launching missiles at them.
Yeah, and then you detonate.
Stevie, did you want me to screen share his video and he can kind of talk over?
Yeah, unless is there anything you want to screen share yourself, Ken, or do you want Curtis to show off your YouTube video?
Well, you can show off the YouTube video. A lot of it's just showing the actual code, but
I'll mute it so it doesn't.
Yeah. One of the things also when I'm writing it now, I've just used set and reset a lot, which I've discovered is, of course, not the most convenient way or the best way to do it. So I'm in the process right now of rewriting it with either poking the graphics in or using the print-out statements. I was planning on going into higher resolution, but I think I'm just going to stick to the low resolution so that I can actually finish this game.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a particular spot you'd like me to fast forward here on the video? Or? Like maybe some of the actual
Actually,
gameplay?
maybe I've just brought it up here. I can maybe screen share here.
Oh, okay.
Let me just see. Okay. Oh, it says that I can't screen share.
Oh, hold on 1 second here. Try it again.
Go and
there we go.
okay, there. So where am I right now? So this is just basically the ship moving on the bottom. Then this is where you're firing up. Anytime now. There.
There you
You
go.
fire up and then you detonate it.
Oh,
and you're
neat.
Trying to,
I like that. There's a little explosion when it first fires, too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
gun smoke sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
like a barrel flare.
yeah,
or
like I
something.
said, I just did a lot of set and reset, which I'm in the process of changing right now, because that's a slow way, as I've discovered, of doing it.
It's a good way to prototype, though. It's easier to
Yeah.
picture in your head what you're drawing, but yeah.
Am I correct to say you have to hit a certain part of the ship as well for it to count?
That was the initial thing. Like I have each ship is drawn from an XY coordinate and then X plus 1, Y minus 1 type stuff. So you had to catch the XY position, which I was counting as the cockpit
Yeah.
in the explosion. But probably when I redo it, it won't be quite that precise.
Okay.
If I'm using poking or print out statements, it'll be more just the right pixel or the right 4 pixel byte or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, another
So-
thing you could do is if you're poking it, you could actually peek the location on the screen.
Yeah.
And that'd be an easy way to detect if if it's there, because if the space is blank, then there's nothing. If there's anything else there, then you know you hit something, and then you can then zone in on what am I close to, and let's detonate that object.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking of. I had designed it also with having just basically a binary thing, 0 or 1. So 0 means the ship's in the air, 1 means the ship's not. So then it's easier to see if you hit one of the ships on screen. It'll only check for the ones that are actual printed, but the peeking is probably a better way. And this is just the ships falling, Tetris pieces falling.
Yeah, it's neat.
You did call it that in the video, didn't you? That's right.
Yeah. We're being attacked by Tetris.
Being
I've had nightmares about that.
Tetris invaders.
And yeah, just go forward here. Yeah, there we go. Here it's actually shooting some of them.
And then you hit detonate, and then okay.
Oh, and I missed.
Okay. You see how the color changed there? That's kind of what Nick was talking about with the semi-graphics. You can't have two different colors in the same spot. It's black and one color. There you go. That's kind of Missile Command looking there, that explosion too. That's a neat effect, that explosion effect.
Yeah.
So and you saw in that one, if I didn't hit the cockpit, so it just keeps
It wasn't
going.
precise, yeah.
It wasn't precise enough, so.
That's neat. It works. It's functional. You got a scoreboard. You've got stuff happening. It's not terribly slow for being set and reset, but you know there's lots of room for improvement in this in basic,
Yeah, definitely.
which is great. Yeah.
And when more things are on the screen, it's going to slow down more. I mean, it slowed down significantly just having 3 things on the screen over when it was just the ship moving around on the bottom. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Neat. Who's that guy?
Is
There you go. Get that shirt.
Is that Leo Laporte?
That guy needs a haircut. Holy cow.
Neat. Very cool.
So yeah, that is what I'm working on right now. I'm hoping to have an update at least every couple of weeks on it. So
cool.
Is this the first game program you've tried tackling? I think you mentioned you did one for the MC10. You were trying at one point.
I was trying to make a dungeon crawler for the MC10. I successfully drew a maze and could move a pixel around inside of it, but that's as far as I got. When I was a kid, I did write a few just kind of like choose your own adventure stories.
Yeah.
Text things.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too complicated, just choose A or B or C or put in a little bit of randomness in it too. So
we just got a live payment on YouTube from Patrick Randolph, and he says, just bought my CoCo SDC. Just got my CoCo SDC up last night. Thanks, Boyson Tech. And thanks for the $10 live payment there, Patrick. Cool.
Nice.
And so we look forward to that progress. So we'll go ahead. Let me see if I still have the link to your channel. No, that was Rick Adams. If somebody could post Canadian Retro Things YouTube channel again, make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. That way you can see when these updates. And
Just got my CoCo SDC up last night. Thanks, Boyson Tech.
There we go. YouTube just did a live on-air text-to-speech for that too. So post that. We got there we go. Brian Weezer just did. Thank you. And Curtis usually features your videos in our news segment. So we're going to be showing you off one way or the other, but feel free to come in and talk to us in person if you like for some updates.
I'll be putting up two specific links here from your last week here. We've already kind of covered them, so I won't dwell on them too long. But
Very cool. Well, we're thank you for being here, and feel free to hang out. And Curtis is going to go over some more gaming news, which might include some more of your stuff. So, L. Curtis Boyle, you have the floor, sir.
Shall do. Got sharing there.
You are sharing.
Yep.
Okay, so I mentioned last week that the Amigos had done their ARG Presents, and the CoCo actually came up on their wheel. So they actually did it. But they had some problems on the Twitch stream when it was actually streaming live on last Sunday. So video kept cutting out and stuff. They had some issues with their local internet, or hillbilly internet as they call it. I love that term. So they put up on YouTube now the final version, which is basically a locally recorded version. So all that jitteriness and stuff is gone. So for those of you who may have tried to watch it last week and had issues like I did trying to watch it, the full version's up. So that covers Interbank Incident and Rad Warrior, as we mentioned last week. So just wanted to mention that. And then also John Schaller did his 1.5-hour stream of CoCo Games there on Twitch, which also I think he had less glitches on that particular one, but he had a few in there too. So the YouTube version of this is up as well, with local recordings, so the hiccups are gone type thing. So definitely a good episode there too. Next up, we have our weekly Jim Gary update. So he has yet another MC10 conversion. This is a game called Lem from Creative Computing in 1976. For those of you who don't know, Creative Computing was one of the earliest home computer magazines, along with Byte and a few others. So this is a lunar landing one. Now this is a little bit different than most. Like most lunar landers, you have like a little drawing of the ground and you have to try to land on a flat spot type thing. This is more of an instrument panel side view type thing. So you can see kind of the layout there, and you have to like kind of steer your coordinates to keep yourself centered to land. So it's a bit of a different take on the lunar lander here, and a bit more technically oriented, probably closer to the real thing, I'm guessing. I haven't personally tried to land a real lunar lander, so I'm not sure, but
it's fun.
So anyway, it's a nice different take on it, a very early
kind of
conversion.
like a flight sim.
Kind
almost,
of.
Yeah.
Landing sim, I guess.
Yeah.
You'd call it. Not sure.
Yeah.
The LEM program was a staple of the old like teletype computer era, and they've tried to bring graphics to it in various ways. But the text at the bottom is basically the
the key of the program, put in some fuel. It does various comprehensive physics calculations, and supposedly you can budget your fuel against your time against the ground. I remember these things. They were great. I tried to write one. I got lost in the math.
I was just going to mention, this sounds perfect for a conversion for Nick Morendis to do because of all the math involved.
Yeah.
So. It's a cool take on a very, very early home computer game from '76, and as you mentioned, it was originally on terminals even before that. So,
we had one question from David Lord saying, "Where's the fire button?"
Next up, Simon Jonasson, of course, has done various demos on the MC10, on the CoCo 1 and 2, and the CoCo 3 is now actually kind of fiddling with the game engine. So this is kind of looks like it's loosely based on Balderdash, or Bouncing Boulders, if you're familiar with the CoCo version. CoCo 3 version in this case here, but he just has a little 12-second video demo. I'll just play a little bit here. Obviously, he's got no bounds checking on some of the shapes here, but just to show the...
He's just kind of walking through and erasing things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, so it looks pretty cool. So we'll keep progress there. This seems to be really a good year for games. I mean, we've had a half a dozen full-blown releases already, at least this year that I can think of. There's another 4 months still going yet. So, and there's some other projects, still in progress. Like Nick's next game's already, well on its way. Chet's starting the next engine for his next project too. So. It's a good time to be a CoCo gamer. I'm sure Nick Marotta won't mind having a bunch of new stuff to throw onto his show.
No, not at all.
Hey.
And here we wanted to kind of show off OmniStar.
Can you make that picture bigger so we can...
I can try.
See what Facebook will do. There we go. Yeah.
Now, Steve, you've actually played this game and I haven't yet.
Yes.
So if you want to explain what things are here for the viewers.
Well, it's been a while since I played it, but if you look at all of these lines, it's kind of like connected dots. These are kind of like nodes in the system, and you're traveling from node to node, and you're trying to shut down the nodes by running a variety of programs. So if you look on the right-hand side, where it says command status, unrecognized command program loaded, again, it's been a while, but the things he mentions, like Dungeons of Daggerath, you know how you like walk into an area and you can like pick up a torch, right? So when you're walking into different, let's call them rooms, there might be a program on the ground, and these programs are kind of like your weapons, and you have to type them in at the command prompt to run them to see what they do. And some of the programs will, you also have like you have your health where it says user status and system status, right? And so you can get attacked, and then your health goes down, and there's certain things, kind of like a potion, that would increase your health. There's other things that can try to shut down the node or to combat the attacking program. So it's kind of figuring out what program do I run under what circumstance, and moving from place to place. But you want to kind of break down all these lines, and you want to basically disconnect everything, and that's how you shut down the system. So I'm doing a really horrible job explaining it because it's probably been a year since I played it. But is Rick still here? Did he go?
I think he's gone.
It'd be better to have Rick explain it.
Rick's not here, man.
Yeah, but this
is
is
anybody else in the panel actually played it since he
him.
released it? If anybody else in the panel has played this since Rick released it this week and wants to give a more up-to-date explanation, especially if any changes he's done.
Okay, see down there where it says workspace? That's kind of like your inventory. So one of the things there is called Spinel, and that has got 100%. And then, the node directory, like the Amethyst and the Ruby, these are also some programs you can run. So just think of them as like your weapons or your spells or your potions. There's different things you can do to try to either heal yourself, cause damage to one of the nodes that's looking at you. There are some nodes that are like trackers, and they move around. So there's certain like robots that are moving around looking for you, and then they'll report your location. There are some that are actually going to attack you and do damage. So there are computer bots running around the system that you're just kind of trying to avoid, and sometimes you have to fight them. But your goal is to attack and take down all the various nodes. And you can only move to a node that's adjacent to you. So like if you're on the far left and you're in the W node, you could go to R, which is up top. You could go to Victory, which is down to the bottom, or you could go to X, right? So you can only travel to one of your neighbors. So you got to say, where do I want to go from here? And you kind of want to go in some type of pattern to start taking things down. So it's kind of like deconstructing the spider web to win the game.
Okay. Has anybody on the panel actually played the actual official version that came out, which has some expanded stuff from what I understand?
Oh, yeah, because see the status bar up there where it says Millibot? The Millibot, those are the military bots. Those are the ones that attack you. And then you have the spy bots. Those are the ones that are looking for you to report where you are so the Millibots can come get you. And so those are some of the things that are moving around, right?
What's that Thomas line?
I'm not sure. A big welcome for that might be a message.
Those are other hackers that are monitoring each of the nodes to try to give you hints. Things move around and stuff like that. So as you move from node to node, different hackers will greet you.
And that's a new feature that wasn't in my version of the game.
Yeah, there's also a medbot that moves around the OmniStar network, reconstructing
it will try to heal.
Done.
Yeah.
And yeah, each node represents a city or a satellite over that city, and you have to knock down each one of them. But there's also other programs that can do different things to you, or they can relocate you, things like that. So the programs that you find in each node were left by previous hackers, and you can then copy them out of that node into your workspace. And as you use a program, the amount of percentage of that program that's available goes down. And there are ways to restore some of those. But you do have to experiment in each node to find out what different programs do. And
yeah, there's a resource management component to this because you've only got so many tools, and tools can only be used so many times before you could basically run out of bullets and not kill all the bad guys, and then you're screwed, right? So,
which is what happened to me in the first run. Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting components. That's why I say it's kind of cerebral. But it's got a cool look to it. It looks like you're on a computer terminal screen. You know, it's kind of got that 80-column IBM look to it. It's neat. It's a neat game.
Now, would you say this is like a geeks game that an arcade player may not even understand what they're doing here? Like, is this a specific market it's for? Or?
It's hard to say. It's definitely more of a cerebral. It's kind of like a puzzle game. It's a puzzle mystery game with a computer terminal. Kind of a computer techie hacky theme to it.
It certainly seems much more fun than Cisco's network simulator.
Yeah,
that's gonna go into.
All in the same vein.
Yeah, but this is what the screen looks like. So if you're looking for arcade graphics and full screen scrolling and parallaxing and lasers and explosions and stuff, this is not going to happen. This is kind of what the screen looks like. There's a lot of scrolling text of what's happening within the system. You type in your commands and things like that. So
there's no killer donuts.
No killer donuts.
It's like a sim.
Yeah, it's real time too. So.
Okay, so if somebody's not like a programmer type, they could still play this, and
it's still a game. It's a puzzle. It's a kind of a puzzle game.
Okay, I was just wondering, like, if it was more like a Core Wars type thing, where if you're not a programmer, you're lost.
You're not writing code. You have to deduce what the effects of the programs are, and there's a strategy into which programs you need to use to clear out the nodes, to affect the different bots that are moving around, to manage your other inventory. So it's all logical deduction, but there's not any programming to it at all.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we weren't, selling it to an audience that does.
It's kind of like
have not a clue what they're doing.
It's kind of like Rick says, kind of like a hunt the wumpus, right? Where you're trying to avoid things, but you have to. I was always using the analogy of like spells and potions, right? So just to bring it to a dungeon concept here, like so you have a potion of healing. You've got certain spells that will ward off certain types of things, right? But in this case here, because you're in a program, you're in a computer, it's a program, right? So you would type in the name of that program to effectively fire a weapon, try to heal yourself or try to disable the spy bot or the med bot or the millibot, so you're just, and it's figuring out which ones do what. And then once you figure it out, okay, I know that this command is the one that actually takes down power from the node. But that thing's only got like 5 or 10 uses. Now I got to figure out what's the other program what's the other command I need to type in that would help replenish that, right? Because if you got like a 6 chamber gun, how do I add more bullets to that gun, right? And so there's another program that you have to find and figure out. Oh, this is the program that reloads the gun that I can use to take down the node. And this is the command that would actually be the one that would take down the spy bot, so he doesn't notify the military bots. And then this is the command I need to use that would actually do damage to the military bot until I can destroy him. So it's figuring out the different commands or the tools or the weapons or the spells or, the potions, whatever analogy you want to use, figuring out what tool for the job you need to use. And a lot of that got retooled in the process of doing it, whereas like sometimes you're going to type in a program and it will seemingly have no effect, but it might change the property of something else, and that's a whole nother level. He added something after the version that I had played, so it's a really neat idea. But yeah, how would you explain the demographic, or how would you put this into a category or genre or a box that says if you like this, you'll like this? I'm not sure how to best answer that question.
It sounds to me it's more like a strategy game than a hardcore Core Wars type.
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it, and I mostly like arcade games. I'm more of a fan of the mindless, just run and gun and shoot and blow up type game. So I enjoyed this game.
Okay. And then for those that want to order it, this is what the page looks like, with the buy now button for the electronic download, and he's got a screenshot there too. And of course, as Rick mentioned earlier, that if he does any updates or any bugs that have to be fixed or something like that, you will be notified, and you can actually just get a free update to it once it gets released, which is nice.
It's a great concept. Digital distribution. I don't know why anybody's never thought of this before.
And then just to cover Ken's stuff here, we've got 2 of his videos up. So he did his Rally SG challenge, so he has his actual gameplay when he was playing it. Now I was going to ask you, Ken, did you play this on a CoCo 2 or did you play this on the CoCo 3?
I played it on the CoCo 3.
Okay.
So yeah, I can record. Usually before, when I was recording off an emulator. So now I'm finally able to use real hardware to record. So with CoCo 3.
Okay, so we just need to get you a deluxe joystick or something now, and you'll be.
Well, I had one, but it broke.
Is it one of the pieces inside that broke, or?
Yeah, one of the little arms broke.
Yeah,
in half,
David Ladd 3D prints those. So.
Yeah, you can get replacements. Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you have access to a 3D printer, you can actually get the schematic and print it yourself too.
Someday I will have a 3D printer.
Neat. And thanks for posting the links, Brian.
And then here's, of course, the video we were playing earlier that Ken himself.
Do you have a name for the game, Ken?
Not really. Just right now I'm calling it Attack.
Attack. Okay.
I'll come up with something better.
So that full video there kind of goes through a bit of your process and your designing of the game, and you had that little sort of mission statement at the beginning there too that you were kind of putting up on the text screen. So definitely we're going to follow your progress in that, and if you have any major updates for it, please feel free to come back on the show again and give us the update. And you're also welcome as a panel member just in general if you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Come on anytime, man.
Yeah, if you want to blow hours during your Saturdays.
Yeah, Canadians welcome.
It's better than working.
Yeah.
CoCoTALK. It's better than working.
It's better than working.
But not much.
It's a new catchline.
Next up, we have Rob's Retro Rambles. He's our favorite Dragon 32 guy here, and he's doing Cuthbert and the Golden Chalice. So I'll play a little
Golden
bit of it
Chalice. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think I said? I didn't say golden shower, if that's what you're implying.
Like, wow, this is pretty progressive for British games.
Anyway, Rob always has his snarky and funny comments. I'll just play like a little bit here for us to.
Geiger Punk, right?
Hello, you.
Is that loud enough?
This is Cuthbert and
You can
the
go a little
Golden
louder.
Chalice for the Dragon 32, or it will be shortly when the tape runs out. There we go. Let's type exact. From 1986, it's the last Cuthbert game, I believe. So I'm expecting something fairly. I was going to say something fairly advanced. And look, we've got high-res graphics. We're in monochrome mode. Excuse me. I for instructions. Go on then. You must help Cuthbert make his way through the cave to collect the golden chalice. Use the right-hand joystick to move Cuthbert left and right, and use the fire button to make him jump up or over something. So I'm thinking Wonder Boy, or maybe Aztec Challenge. I'm suspecting it's going to be more like the second screen of Aztec Challenge, isn't it? Space, any key to continue. Enter to pause the game, space to continue the game. And that's it. Right, space to play the game then. Let's see. I press the space.
Oh, that looks pretty good. Almost looks like
Cuthbert's changed a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of a Mario.
Mario. Seems like compiled basic a little bit here, but yeah.
Oops. He fell in a hole that was about 5 foot deep, and that.
It's a me, a
killed him
fake Mario.
I was gonna say, is this a downland, Bill?
Damn.
Now is this PAL artifacting that we're seeing here? Because his shirt looks like a solid color.
Can I at least do the first screen, which has no enemies or anything on? There we go.
Oh,
right.
Crikey.
Oh, snake. Jumping
I'm in a
snakes.
pit with a snake. Marvelous.
Snake.
Jump mechanics are a little bit
snakes on a game.
Wonky.
Synchronized jumping.
Damn you.
Anyway, he gets stuck in this level for quite a while, so let me fast forward a bit here.
What on earth has happened to it?
Later.
Where do we?
It kind of looks like an old... Oh my word!
What is that thing? Oh, whirlwind, huh? Whirling dervish.
Tornado or something, yeah.
So the screen never changes. It's just what you have to deal with on the screen changes, huh?
No.
Looks like.
Right. Okay. And there we go.
And then and you have to make sure
now
that you're not going to
chase
hit
me
your
as well.
head on the spider. That's evil.
That looks difficult.
Well, there we go. What was that level? Screen 4. I think we'll make this a quick one, eh?
Nice.
'Cause that's gonna
Interesting.
get really.
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen a very brief demo of this game a long time ago, I think, on High Retro Game Lord. But actually, he got a bit further into the game. You can see some of the extra elements they had. But basically, yeah, it's just jumping the 3 holes, but you got different things coming at you. So
yeah.
But Cuthbert has definitely changed over the years, as you can see.
Yeah. And for the if that was the last Cuthbert one, he didn't necessarily go out with a bang.
So this here is the demo video that Chet put up a couple of days before he released Digger 3 itself, but he has a bit of an explanation as well as some gameplay. I won't play the whole thing, but I thought I'd play the beginning where he's kind of talking about it, just so people can get a bit of a background to it.
Okay.
All right, it is time again for
So that
Tandy.
I can hear it,
This time around, I want to celebrate by demoing a game that I've been working on for the last couple of years called Digger 3. Now, this is a follow-up to a game, obviously called Digger 2, that I did from back in '96 and '97. This is based on a game called Gold Runner 2000 that was done by my best friend Eric Critchlow on a computer called GameON, which is considered one of the predecessors to the Tandy Color Computer 3. And this runs, it's a 68K base machine. It runs OS 9 68000, and so he'd done this game, and in turn that was based on Gold Runner for the CoCo 1 and 2, and Load Runner from Broadrun, which was on a wide variety of machines, and with one big difference in that you had rather than tiny 8x8 pixel or 8x9 pixel blocks and tiny little characters, the sprites and the blocks were much bigger. They're 24 by 24 pixels, and so in order to do that with and have the same size playfield, which was roughly which varied depending on the platform. And on the MM1's case, it was 39 by 24. He introduced four-way scrolling, which kind of changed certain aspects of the game. So when I did this on the CoCo 3, I did it with 16 by 16 pixel sprites and blocks, which was it was a choice of mine. I forget exactly what it did. It had something to do with dealing with the scrolling. So and of course it implemented the four-way scrolling that he had done on the M1 that implemented on the CoCo 3 as well. So of course that carries forward, and I found came across the code a couple of years ago. Figured, it's like, well, let's go and play with it, see how much I can see if I can even get it up and running. Because it's been, over 20 years since I'd even, done anything with it at all. And so I started, playing around with it and adding some stuff and sprucing it up and making it a little less bland, less static. It was, flat, like a lot of the games back in the day, they almost seemed kind of like, certain aspects of the world were frozen in time. You had less animations. And so I wanted to give it some of that stuff. So, and here we go with the title screen. This is, of course, for CoCo 3 requires 512K, of course, joystick. And of course, this I'm gonna warp to a higher level because, to me, the earlier levels are meant to allow you to get familiar with certain aspects of the game. So they play a little bit slower and kind of build you up to about what you're going to see on this game. Now this uses this relies on the CPU, the 1609, for all of the actual rendering. It has no sprite hardware. It has no blitter hardware. So everything that you have to do on the CoCo 3, you're stuck doing it with the CPU. Even playing the sound, all of the the digital audio that you're hearing on this is being played by the CPU through a timer interrupt. So you have to. There's a lot of burden on the CPU to do what you would find on some of the other machines. So it's actually quite spectacular what can be done with the right approach and the right mindset in getting some of this stuff done. So doing four-way scrolling. I'm not sure that I think their only other game is on the CoCo 3 that does four-way scrolling is Pac Dude 3D. One of the Pac games. Spectacular games. It's got some great music to it too. Yeah, I remember that came out. That was a spectacular game. So you've got a limited number of games which actually utilize the and take advantage of this aspect of the CoCo 3, which is really unfortunate because this adds there's a tremendous amount that you can get done with the capabilities of the GameON, and particularly with the 6809. The power of that CPU, particularly for being an 8-bit, is just phenomenal. You can do tremendous things. There's there's actually a number of special effects that aren't in this game because I just didn't have memory. There was certain things with the original implementation that I'm just not really willing to put the effort into changing, just because of the time. I would rather spend time on building a new system from the ground up, which I'll be doing on my next project. I'm going to put that time into something. So there's still a lot that can be done. So I had to pull those up because I just didn't have memory on things like water effects, lighting. There's a translucency effect which almost worked, but I just without the memory there, I wasn't going to go ahead and complete it. So there's just a lot more that you can do with the CoCo 3 than has been done in a lot of games. You've got there are some exceptions. Games like Pac Dude 3D and the Contra, Crystal City. Those were games that really did their best to take advantage of much of the CoCo 3 as they possibly could for the games that they had to implement. Because Crystal City is a very, very fast game. You've got a lot going on, and then with Contras, you actually have pretty much somebody else's game design that you kind of stick with because that was all the Nintendo, and then you've got to make compensations for the CoCo 3 and the lack of hardware that you would find on something like the Nintendo that they can take advantage of in ways that we just can't. So there's there's some give and takes that they have to do, but the CoCo 3 is capable of so much more than just even this game. It's almost frightening that it hasn't actually been taken advantage of in that way up until
That's interesting to hear. A guy who's pushed it probably further than it's been pushed, saying that there's so much more that can be done.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to play the whole text here rather than just do a quick video preview.
How this game turned out, and I will be happy to finally release it, put it to bed.
I say it's pretty common because even they're doing pretty cool stuff with the Atari 2600 these days, even. Like the longer something's been around.
Yeah, once you learn all the programming tricks of the
See what
hardware,
I
then
can
you
come
can
up
start really exploiting them, and that's kind of what has gradually been done. I mean, Nick and Chet in recent times.
That side dig feature is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, how do you do that? I never knew about that.
You can dig while you're on a ladder. You just move your joystick to the left and hit dig.
In fact, on later levels, you have to do that to get at certain spots.
Boy, I died. Yeah, it keeps telling me that.
Yeah, his messages when you die are funny.
Yeah, I mean the animations, the color, the scrolling.
I can't believe I did that. And the game is over. So, well, I
yeah,
hope
like he
you
swings his
enjoyed
legs when
this
he
demo,
crawls across ropes.
and I hope you enjoy your Tandy.
Now, some of those graphics are done by Paul Thayer too. So.
Yes. Oh, national anthem time.
Anyway, I wanted to show that in its full, just to have all the commentary that he gave on that, kind of giving a history of the project. He didn't go into the whole challenge thing part of it, but he covered the basics of it. And then he also covered, the fact that his next engine is going to be going farther ahead than this. Like he was talking about translucency effects. I really want to see what he's talking about on those, for example.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
And that is this week's Game On Challenge, of course.
All right. So that this week's Game On Challenge, meaning that's the game of the week that we're playing for next week. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and here's the official announcement done yesterday, which was a couple days early. It was supposed to originally, he was planning on releasing it today, possibly just before or just during the show, but he actually released it a little bit early. So go get your copy. It's free on Facebook right now in the CoCo group. Hopefully it'll be on the actual archive a little bit later on too. 512K, keyboard or joystick. You don't need to have a joystick. You can play with a keyboard. In fact, I find it a little bit easier that way. 6809, no 609 required. RGB monitor is required right now. You can play it on composite, but the colors are going to be completely wrong. And I think he did that because of some of the subtle shading he's doing in the background. You just can't match that on composite completely.
And composite just sucks, let's be honest. So
yeah, well, there are plenty of RGB solutions out now, so you're good.
The rising entertainment costs.
And that is the end of the Game On news segment.
All right. Well, thank you, L. Curtis Boyle. Do we want to go ahead and jump right into news, to CoCo News?
If you want to. I don't know if you want to play the little intro.
Well, yeah, absolutely. This is a professional show, but I just want to make sure that we're ready to do that there.
Am I on the right show?
Yes. All right. So, hold on. Let me go ahead and share sound just for a minute so you guys can hear what Willis is talking about, and then we'll give it back to Curtis.
From around the world, what you need to know. Get caught up on News with L. Curtis Boyle.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
All right. It is time for News with L. Curtis Boyle, everybody.
I feel like a Muppet. Hey, first up, Pere Serrat in the Facebook Dragon group. And we talked about the Dragon MSX2. That's the board that includes like a sprite chip and a sound chip. So what he's done here is he's actually uploaded for download some 10 WAV files with songs of one or more games recorded while playing them in that module on that new board.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, it's the actual songs to play, so I won't bother playing them here. You can just download them and check them out. But for those people that don't remember what this is the board itself here. So basically it's a sprite and sound chip combination board. So, and we've seen some demos, like Pere's been porting the AGD engine to it, which is all those Spectrum games we've got. So basically once he gets this all done, we're gonna have 200 games immediately released that will actually support
multiple
up to
colors,
16
colors,
and sprites,
music,
multi-voice music, sound effects, the whole shebang. So really looking forward to this actually getting fully done here. So I'm really looking forward to keeping track of that project. It looks like it's definitely going through, and it's one of the hardware upgrades that actually is going to have a wealth of software support right off the bat, like 200 games under the AGD engine immediately. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Next up from the MC10 group, Robert Sieg, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He has both a video demonstrating and the actual webpage up of his new MC10 solo full screen emulator online. This is kind of like the Java CoCo emulator online type thing. So you can actually go in there. This is the video version. So I'll just fast forward a bit here. But you can actually upload files to the emulator over the browser.
Okay.
So if you have MC10 cassettes you want to load, you can do that. Or he's got a few built in. And then you can actually emulate and play around with it. So here he is demonstrating some various things. So he's got this. I've never seen this one, actually. This is Jeweler. It's a kind of a Bejeweled style game on the MC10.
Choosing some of my favorite colors.
Well, the interesting thing is here, because the MC10 is hardwired to only allow up to 4K maximum for the graphics screen, even though the VDG, can handle bigger. That's the way they wired it for the RAM. So in this case, they just said, screw it, we're going to use a 6K, P mode 3 mode, so we can get the higher resolution. And just if it ghosts the screen, because that's all the VDG can do here, we'll let it ghost the screen. So we actually get the higher res, but you get a kind of a duplication of the screen.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad little game. I think he plays a little bit of the demo here.
Go choose a match and earn some points by getting some
And then things fall down. Okay. Yeah. Neat.
Yeah. So a bit of a demo there, but that's just showing the emulator kind of in action.
Neat.
And the actual emulator here, for whoever's posting links, just mc-10.com. You can actually like type in basic stuff, yourself if you want to. Like,
now this used to be in Java, so has he just made it something else? Because there was an MC10 Java web emulator before.
Well, I think he's expanded on it somewhat, and he's also, I think he's planning on supporting some other things a bit beyond what the original emulator did. I mean, I don't think the original emulator allowed you to upload your own code, did it?
I don't know. I never messed with it that much. Let's go try the pinball one just for shits and giggles, right? That's like the Radio Shack original Tandy pinball game.
This one here?
Yeah.
Reset.
Let's hit exec, right? That should, Radio Shack. Lost World Pinball.
Oh, yeah, I played this one for a while.
Yeah.
I don't remember the controls, though, unfortunately.
It's one of those little crappy chiclety keys on that keyboard. Just pick one.
Thanks for narrowing that down for me, Stevie.
ASDF.
EF?
No.
ASDF?
Giving you a hard time, Curtis.
Huh.
Yeah, I know you have to bring the plunger down, but I can't remember how to do that.
No, that's cool. That's very cool.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. A web emulated computer.
You hold the enter key.
Yeah, just figured that out.
Pew pew.
But will it hold open a virtual door or a window?
Hey, it's a pretty cool looking emulator. Like I said, he's planning on doing some other things. I think he's actually talked about possibly doing like some of the MCX support, which I don't think the original emulator did either. So instead of just having the 16K upgrade and you stop, this will actually support the full thing, the new basic and everything else.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Definitely.
That's the one downside to using a physical MC10 is the keyboard, because even Jim Gary, the king of MC10 coding, says I don't use that keyboard, right? So it's just yeah, but it's a piece of history.
That's a place I think most people would allow a distortion of the hobby. Is to type
right.
on a real keyboard.
It's definitely a piece of something.
And then as part of the SIP Tandy, and I have a few of these scattered at various places throughout the news here just because they kept coming in at different times. So the first one here is Mail Day, and this is Noel's Retro Lab on YouTube. So he's put up a video of his latest batch of hardware and software items that he received for various retro computers, which in this case included some dragons.
Another week, another bunch of mail. I think there's some interesting things in there. So
I think one of the first ones he actually got to here was the dragon, which actually came with a couple of books too.
Oh wow, nice.
There it is.
And if that one's in pristine shape, like that's pretty decent.
So here it is, a Dragon 32, a not very well-known computer, although not nearly as obscure as the
And I believe he's
Enterprise
from Spain, but obviously I don't think he was raised there because he speaks pretty darn good English.
And yeah, this is also a very interesting computer, both from a technological DC or DC. That's
the original
AC.
power brick.
And it has, seems like half of its empty space.
Actually, some of the cartridges.
I love their logo. That's very cool. It also came with some original software.
Wow, what a great pickup.
Tapes.
Yeah.
This thing is all like shiny and new.
Interesting.
You'll see some titles that we recognize from the CoCo side of the
Dragon
Pawn
32. I don't think they made any software specifically
Cash
for
Man.
Dragon 64.
Time
Bandit?
Not sure if they did or not back in the day. I'm sure today people are doing those. And yeah, it's always interesting seeing games that you're familiar with them in other platforms. Like I'm familiar with this game from the ZX Spectrum and the Amstrad. and it's now seeing it on the Dragon.
Hunchback.
It's going to be interesting. I'd like to try this one.
Which actually, that
see
Cuthbert
how
game I
it
think
fares.
we showed earlier,
Also
this
came with-
Hunchback for
looks
members,
like just a
pretty
regular
similar.
RF cable. So okay, that's fine. And it came with some books, which I absolutely love, especially books that are about low-level system programming or assembly or machine language. I love those. One day maybe I'll make a video about the different books of that type that I have for different computers. But this is awesome getting this one. Yeah, this Melbourne house seemed to have a lot of those kind of computers.
Brian, you
A
got that
lot of those
copy?
books.
Brian Weasler?
And this is just a collection.
If
of
not, it's on
programs
his wish
that
list.
Type in things. So not nearly as interesting, but still. I
Was that
love
Brian?
getting some of those original books. I know you can get PDFs of those for free in general, but it's it's really hard to replace the.
I might have a
physical
spare,
book.
Brian.
And we got another book.
Book of Games.
Book of Games. So I guess another type in.
The Bog.
And
the Book of Games.
this looks
The Dragon
like
Composer.
Yep, and this is a port of the
software.
original Composer by Speech
maybe it's
Systems
about
for the
making
CoCo,
music.
which is the,
Okay.
one of the very
Composer.
first four-voice software synthesizer programs.
Bent, but it looks in cassette. Yeah, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not in cartridge, but cool. So all in all, it's a pretty cool package for the.
And then he goes into some other stuff from other platforms that are received in the mail.
Nice. That's real clean and pristine right there. It's a good pickup.
Yeah. Next up, this was cool, and I've actually been in contact with him a little bit. I'll see. I don't know if he managed to make it to the chat today. I kind of invited him to, and I wouldn't mind him having him on the show later. But this is part of Septandy as well. But this is a guy that actually grew up with the CoCo 2 back in the day, and did some work with it. And he was doing little hardware stuff with it and software. And he kind of collected a bunch of machines and software and hardware over the years up until the 90s. Then he's kind of stuffed it in boxes. And for Septandy, he decided to go out and try to bring them all back out. And man, has he got a nice collection. I can't play the whole thing, obviously, but let me see if I can fast forward here. So he goes through and he finds like his CoCo 1.
Nice.
Which is also in really good shape.
Oh, yeah.
Nice and
Wow.
shiny.
Here was the old gray beast itself. I spent many hours on this machine. I
Doesn't
spent
look like it.
many hours on this computer. It has the chiclet keyboard. I'm
no paint
sure
rubbed
that
off
was
of it.
still
Yeah,
working when I boxed it.
Well, he's
Some
got
of the
multiple
keys are
ones,
a
so this
little
might
bit
not be his
sticky.
original stock machine.
And it really needs to be cleaned up.
It looks pretty clean.
But
Yeah.
it had
Yeah.
a reset switch, a
Right, you don't
RF
mind again.
modulator output, and
Almost
that was
black.
the only video output option that the CoCo 1 had. The computer definitely deserves a good cleaning.
He's got some spills on his
And
top
there-
there.
And some various manuals.
Oh, yeah.
Here's some cool 6809 microprocessor
And did you get one of those
details.
books too, Stevie,
The
with your exercise?
6809 is the
I got a bunch of stuff.
processor, I think,
That's the
in
Bible
all
right
three
there, guys.
CoCo machines.
Silver buck.
And I believe this is Edasm. Yes, this is the assembly editor software. So this is a later
version.
part of my collection.
Yep.
This hasn't seen the light of day in years. So this now
It's
is
blank
the
disc, so
time.
skip that a little bit.
Computer. Again,
CoCo
many
2.
hours spent on this machine. The keyboard was
Dust
upgraded
covers.
from by the factory, not by me. The keyboard was improved by the factory to this full stroke type of keyboard rather than the chiclets. It's the RF modulator, and that's it. There are CoCo 2s. Lots of manuals.
Multi-packs,
Yeah.
drives.
I spent so much time in this manual. It's been well used. Just chapter after chapter, I remember going through learning about the basic programming language. And sometime along the way, I picked up a slightly
Yeah, mine's
newer
literally
copy.
in pieces.
It was in much better
Spine's
shape.
totally gone.
Yep,
Here's
mine
the
too.
disk operating system.
Oh, Terry's
Going
got some of those
ahead
books
with
we were mentioning
Extended
earlier.
Color Basic. Oh, and to go along with that, I believe it's right over here.
Take care, Frodo.
Getting started with Extended Color Basic,
The
and
newer
going
version,
ahead
yeah.
with Extended Color Basic.
Well, are you going to get started, or are you going to go
this
ahead?
book with the kids on it. What's that one? Basic Fun.
Fun game. That was a very fun game.
Yeah.
I believe that was a disc game.
A lot of stuff.
Oh, definitely remember
Interbank.
that adventure game.
Yep.
Interbank Incident. All right, cartridge-based game, Dragonfire. Another cartridge game, and another.
Went to the CCW Children's Workshop.
Downland.
Evil game. Downland.
All right, Cyrus Chess. Great, very fun game of
I
chess.
forgot Cyrus actually had the full-size manual.
Adam. Color
Color
Scripts.
Scripts it, the holy grail. The holy grail of CoCo collecting
the
right
computers
there.
were marketed as, not only they're wonderful documents.
He actually used Scripts it too. He actually was a fan of it somewhat.
So the original way to get programs loaded and saved was through the cassette.
Yeah, I never had the
It
case
has
actually when I had
this
mine.
6-volt power supply. And
a couple melted keyboard CoCo 2s.
The back of the CoCo computer, in the back of the CoCo would take the 5-pin DIN. So here's where you'd make the connection with the cassette player and reverse disk drive. It was a dual unit, and I don't remember why, but I had this case opened up and one of the drives removed. And I haven't found the drive yet. So there's another box that has some other pieces in it and some more hardware. I think it's going to be found over there. So this plugs into the right side cartridge port and expands to.
Apparently, you can plug a multi-pack into a multi-pack.
And
some idiot tried that on the show once, didn't he?
And floppy disk.
I don't know if you guys remember this one. Elite Transfer was a PC program to transfer CoCo discs to PC discs on a PC.
With a 3.5-inch floppy.
We would actually we would read the CoCo discs right on the PC. It was one of the earliest.
there's an old DOS program. There's like
Here's a modem pack. I haven't used this before, but I suppose people have acquired them and didn't even test them back discs. Another floppy drive, although not there.
Ooh, floppy.
The label stated, but basic.
Oh, yeah! He's even found some of his old, like, I know Stevie wished he could do this too, but he found some of the old games he was working on his floppies there, so we actually finished them.
And doing with that.
Got some
Rainbow magazines.
Nice.
These were an endless source of entertainment. So there was a monthly magazine. Might even, some of these work on.
And he's got some other stuff from other
the
computers there too,
Atari.
plus another box of disc and cartridge
this
games.
is probably a mixed box. So whereas this is right. Yes.
All right. So just Curtis, if you've got a hard out at 5, it's 4:30, just so you know for a time check.
Yeah, there's not too much more news left to go. So okay.
Whereas some of these others,
oh, good. You mean I can wake up soon?
Those 4 ports as well.
Where's that button that don't like you off the call?
Anyway, he's got this huge collection. He actually at the beginning of the video has a little picture. Like he's got like I think 8 or 9 CoCo 2s stacked. He's got multiple CoCo 3s. He's got this 8515 monitor by Magnavox. He's got a ton of stuff. Neat. And he's had this stuff in storage for literally almost 20 years and just hadn't brought it up. In fact, when he was doing this Tandy at the beginning, he didn't think he had anything. And then he suddenly remembered, I've been moving around to different houses over the last 20 years, hauling all this stuff, and I've never opened it back up. And he did for Tandy, and now he's actually been getting stuff working.
That's neat. It's like your own time capsule, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of it, they didn't follow it up with one he just released this morning.
Hey,
where
what's
he
that
actually
computer in the background? It's like a Commodore.
A Commodore, yeah.
Well, he's a retro guy in general, so he's got multiple platforms like a lot of us do. But in this one here, he actually got the 8515 out, and he went hunting through all of his cables because he had boxes of cables too, and there's a couple that looked like it might work, and then he found one there, but it didn't work properly. So then he actually goes through finding the schematic on the web of the connecting port on the where the CMake plugs in the bottom of the CoCo itself. And he actually made his own cable as part of this video. Now, he did find out that wherever he found his schematic, it was wrong. It wasn't quite right. So he had to do a bunch of testing.
Was that Barry Nelson's site by any chance? No, just kidding, Barry.
So anyway, he spends a fair bit of time going through and figuring this out, which is what a lot of the video is. But then he gets it going, and then he's It was funny because he'd had these RGB monitors. He'd never plugged one of the CoCo 3 before, even though he had all this stuff. He just never bothered hooking it up. And he had the reaction that I think a lot of us did the first time we saw RGB, like just amazed at how crisp and clear this looked compared to composite.
Right.
Oh. Like literally.
Display looked this clear before. This is amazing.
Like that's the exact same reaction I had.
That's composite.
I mean, even here in composite, think what a step above the old RF modulator that this is. So going into RGB,
that looks like the Commodore monitor.
10 steps more improved.
Well, the Commodore monitor is essentially the same inside.
Now I wonder what this green
this is the exact monitor
option button does.
Pete CM515.
Yeah.
I'm detecting a little bit brighter.
It's got a door.
Display
Yeah, mine
green when it's out, maybe a little bit dimmer when it's in.
I got 2.
Oh, but look at the cursor.
2 doors.
Yeah, here's where
is
we
that a
discovered what the green
monochrome
screen
setting?
switch does.
Oh, the green screen
Maybe this
switch.
is the monochrome.
Yeah, but it basically turns into
Green
green
and
screen
black
monochrome, so you kill all the rest of the
only.
colors except green.
Ah.
Okay, so there is RGB full color.
If you want OmniStar to really look like an old terminal,
Yeah,
So
right.
cool.
do it.
Wow.
Hey.
I can't
That's
wait till
cool.
it actually starts trying RGB-based software on it.
Right.
Like Digger
Like
3.
Digger
would be a good
3.
example.
Yeah.
Mm.
He did mention that he does have a 512K upgrade that he hasn't installed yet. So I'm looking forward to him trying that. I've actually been in contact with him, so we'll see if we can get him on the show at some point. Give him that fresh new reaction to a CoCo 3 type thing.
Yeah. Neat.
Okay, next one here. I don't have a clue how to pronounce this name. You want to give it a shot, Stevie?
Mario.
Mario.
Curtis. Close enough.
Sounds good. So he put up a link here. Put up a link here. Usborne Books, which did a lot of computer books for various platforms back in the early 80s and are still around doing newer stuff today, has now put in some of their books in PDF format and put them up for free, which is a really cool thing because most book publishers don't do that if they're current, even with their old stuff. So
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing this posted before. Yeah.
Yeah, they got their modern books there, but if you scroll down, they've got all these older ones from back in the day with source listings and everything else, and they're cross-platform.
Yeah.
I would think a few of these we've actually shown before, like the Computer Space games and a few others here, but there's a whole whack of them, and they're totally free from the original publisher. Just go download them and have fun.
Yeah, digital, clean.
Write your own adventure programs right there.
Yep, right there. Yeah, I'll double use that as a sample just to quickly show.
10, print, this is an adventure. 20, input, what do you want to do? 30, print, I don't care. 40,
You're
end.
pretty close. Pretty close.
Congratulations, you win.
But they actually go into how to design them and how to lay out a map and graph paper and
I've actually got that book.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I was surprised to hear that Grant got Rainbow because I didn't even know he could read. But yeah, that's cool.
He likes the pictures.
It's got lots of pictures. Yeah,
lots of pictures.
Colorful.
Yeah. So here you got some of the actual code, and it says, "Note: this will not work on a Timex Sinclair." See page 3839. So obviously it's cross-platform again, but
because of the input
syntax
and
of certain
syntax,
basic commands,
yeah.
like in-key string, not like the Apple II, for example, doesn't have an in-key string. So anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool that did that. I would like more major publishers, especially with stuff that's so far out of date, out of print, you'll never sell them again, really.
Right.
That if you want to, kind of promote your brand to some of the retro community, that they might want to buy some of your newer books from modern systems. This is, I think, a great promotional thing.
Well, it's kind of interesting because some of these old games were simple enough that you could take the entire game and layer, say, a graphic engine on top of it on a CoCo.
Yeah.
So you could take a ZX81 text game and make it a graphical game.
Yeah.
Still in basic. Yeah.
And just kind of grow it from there. And that's a lot of fun to me. I enjoy that.
Yeah. This one really caught my eye. I mean, we saw Fred do this last week where he was kind of showing how to use the semi-graphics to make these, specialized characters and
Animations,
stuff.
yeah.
And he wrote a little editor for it here, which he calls semi-anim for animate. Now, this is written purely in BASIC. There's no machine language in here. Which, when he's editing the little bits, I mean, that looks fine. But if you fast forward a little bit and you watch him actually start duplicating his cells and stuff that he's drawing his little semi-graphics 24 stuff in, and all of a sudden it does it really fast. Like that.
Whoa.
And I was kind of wondering, how the heck did he do that? And then he goes to explain it. Basically, you do a couple of pokes to fool BASIC into thinking the SemiGraphics 24 is a P Mode 3 or P Mode 4 screen, which is the exact same size, 6144 bytes. And then you use get and put.
Yep.
And it
Yeah,
works
right.
on the SemiGraphics. You can actually blast your stuff on fairly quickly with the get put commands, which is so obvious. I don't know why I hadn't thought of it years ago. So for people
That's
that
a cool
want to
idea.
kind of do what Nick's doing, but in BASIC, if
Boom,
you want to
look
do a
at that.
fairly fast
Yeah.
arcade-style games using SemiGraphics 24, you can do it this way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you still have to poke in your individual things to set your shapes up, but after that, it's just getting.
Yeah, I
put.
wish I remember what all those perks were. But yeah, there was definitely ways, because I remember doing that, changing the graph. Because I'd even found a font somewhere that was drawn in the high res command using the draw stuff. But once you poked it to go back to the semi-graphics mode, it actually lined up perfectly and looked perfectly on the text screen. So it was actually a way to change your font through graphics, but it showed up on your text screen. Really cool stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, definitely, if you want to take a look at that, if you ask him, I'm sure he'll give you the source code for it too, if you want to kind of fiddle with it. But yeah, you can use like PCLS if you want to clear the screen in a certain pattern. Like a lot of the basic commands will work at the full basic graphic speed, versus normally when you're dealing with semi-graphics, you're poking every little tiny
Yeah.
thing, so it's kind of slow. So if
Yeah,
you're interested in doing semi-graphics, having all the extra colors available to you, but you want to do it in basic because you don't know machine language, this is a pretty darn good way to do it.
Neat.
That is a cool hack. You can go the other way too, where you could do things in graphics or do things in text, but make it look like you're in a graphics screen just by poking the text screen to look like graphics, I would imagine, right? So,
Yep. Yeah, it's a pretty cool little program. And you got a fairly good discussion there going on, so there's a lot of comments coming in. Next up, John Linville posted this up first. I think the first one to mention it. The virtual VCF Midwest is today. It started this morning. Of course, they can't do it in person. So they put up the schedule here and YouTube links for every one of the videos they pre-recorded for all the various things, and they're releasing them, as the day goes on type thing. And this covers a variety of retro systems. And Steve, you've actually been to this VCF Midwest before. I believe,
yeah, we
haven't
all
you?
were there last year, or a lot of us were.
And you were there. And
Yeah.
you were there.
Oh, yes, and it was a blast.
And we
So
went
it's
to
a really good show from what I understand. I've never been to one, but
it's awesome.
So are none of these were live then? These are all pre-recorded? Is there anything live?
from what I
right now?
understand, yes, it sounded like they actually had put up the links yesterday, and you can actually watch them out of order. But this is kind of when they're live streaming.
Yeah.
The
They
recording.
did the same thing for VCF West. They had the videos pre-recorded, and they had the people online. So they'd play the video, and then the person would add a little bit to the end of it and have questions. So it sounds like it's a similar format to what they had for VCF West.
Okay, and that goes on until 6:00 tonight is the end of it. So
Okay.
you can
Excellent.
catch that after the show.
Beauty, eh?
Spark Server 1000. Oh my gosh.
Next up, this is a kind of a fun CoCo group project. So a new member, and I'll let Stevie pronounce his name again.
Yeah. How about Zeox Gomazo?
Gamazoa.
Gamazoa. I don't know, dude.
Mm.
Come
I have
on.
no idea.
Put me on the spot here.
So basically, he published the screenshot of Cody written in BASIC, and he says it's too slow. So he's actually asking if people could convert this to ML form. But people went through the code, and a variety of the people here that are regulars on our show kind of helped with this too. And they kind of went through, like he's had 45 comments, so this has become a group project now. But they actually helped him optimize the BASIC. I think Paul Shoemaker contributed, James Jones might have contributed, a variety of people. And by the time it all got done, just optimizing the BASIC part, it's running 4 times faster.
What
from
is
his
this
original
program
code.
trying to do right now? Okay, Z equals random 143. If it's less than 128, then go to 10.
It prints graphic characters from the top left going right and from the bottom right going left, and they meet in the middle.
Like here's Paul's solution to it, where you just redid it, and it's much shorter for one, and it's 4 times faster. So I don't think he needs ML anymore, because this is actually sped up to the point where his problems with the speed has actually been solved.
So is that what the program was supposed to be doing there, or putting random?
I think this was an error. Do you remember, James? I didn't actually get a chance to go through all these. So
I didn't go through them all.
Okay. Interesting.
But I know he's pretty pleased with the progress that's been made on it. So it's kind of become a group project with people helping out. It's kind of like we were offering Ken, the community can do is that if you have an issue like this or just need a solution to a problem, you can't figure it out yourself or need a little bit of help on it. This is the kind of thing that just spontaneously happens. And this one here, Raymond Jett actually modified his sound speech pack to put a switch to switch between the single speed and the double speed, because of course, as we know, it doesn't fully function at double speed, and Tandy never fixed that for the CoCo 3. So a few of us have mentioned to him that, Boys in Tech's doing a satellite board that actually will make it so completely independent you don't need to switch. It'll just automatically work, and it'll even work on the Gimme X's triple speed coming up. But he actually solved, the single double speed on his own, and he kind of explains how he did it and then demonstrates it. So a nice little hardware hack there.
Wait a second. If you're hacking hardware, are you distorting anything?
Possibly.
Okay.
Got to be careful,
All right.
Next up, Tony Jewell and the Dragon group here, and this is something I had never seen before. So Dragon obviously made their own versions of the cassette data recorders for the CoCo, or the Dragon 32 and the Dragon 64. But here they are selling one for Commodores. As you notice in the bottom of the box, suitable for use with Commodore computers. So I had not had any clue that Dragon had actually made stuff for other machines besides their own. So that was a new one on me. And from what Tony Jewell is pretty active in the Dragon hardware market there, I think it was
So
new to him.
was Commodore, how they did cassettes, completely different? Because I know a lot of people have mentioned the reason why they bought the CoCo is because they could use any tape player, whereas some systems needed a very specific tape player for whatever.
Yes,
Commodore
it
one
was.
did.
Yeah. So what was so special about their tape player that made it
That's why it's
proprietary?
so fast.
Oh, because it says turbo on it?
Turbo on it.
Floppy.
Okay.
If that's turbo, then the CoCo one must be twin supercharged and turbocharged.
Anyway, it was just interesting that I never knew, and the Dragon people didn't know that the Dragon actually made stuff for other computers besides their own lines. So
Yeah, but what made that tape drive different? Was it digital recording versus analog recording or something? I'm just not sure what made certain tape
It
players.
had some circuitry in there that conditioned the signal.
It had a custom cable that hooked to a special connector on the back of the computer, and that's about the only difference.
Oh, really? So there was just strong arming the consumer to have to buy their custom formed connector versus a generic connector.
It didn't go through. I think it didn't go through the digital to analog and analog back to tape. I think it went straight to digital all the way to the tape drive.
Okay, so if there was a technological difference, that would make sense. But if it's just a
Okay.
Yeah, in all cases, the Commodore, the peripheral cost more money, and the computer was cheaper. So all of the
razor blade.
That's how they made their money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all the processing was offloaded to the peripherals. So the disk drive was a standalone computer. The tape deck was a standalone decoder.
Okay. Just interesting. Okay. Gotcha.
And speaking of the Dragon here, LGR, which is one of the larger retro channels, and he's got a sub channel called LGR Blurbs, and he actually does an unboxing. He just released this morning too, literally right before the show, of unboxing a Tano Dragon, so one of the North American models. So I won't play that because I haven't even had a chance to watch it, but I'll just show you a little clip of it here.
Yeah, it looks nice. I've got one like that too. I've got the Tano in the box I haven't opened up yet.
And it came with some sample software.
Are all the Tano Dragons Dragon 64s?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So like I said, that one just came out.
So
He's planning on doing some follow-up videos of it too. And his channel is almost the size of the 8-bit guys. I mean, it's a huge one, like 100,000, 200,000 subscribers at least, or maybe 1 million plus. I can't remember, but it's nice that some of these bigger channels are actually getting into the CoCo and Dragon stuff here, especially with the Tandy going on. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll see more of that.
LGR primarily, most of the videos I've seen on his channel is for like older PCs, so like the MS-DOS peripherals and things like that. But it's nice to see other machines on his channel.
Okay, maybe because I was searching specifically for older 8-bit retro. I'd seen a few of his videos on other 8-bit retro, so I thought he was more of a full-blown retro page. But okay.
Wood grain.
Cool.
And that's the end of the regular news. I will stop sharing briefly here because I have to bring up a different window. And this will switch over to David O'Connor's video from the Adalaide. What is it officially called, David?
Adalaide Retro Computer Meetup. Oh, I don't know if it's called Meetup. I called it that, but it's Adalaide Retro. Adalaide Retro Computing. That's what it's really. That's what the official title
Okay.
is.
Now, did you want to talk over it, or do you want me to leave the audio on from it as well?
Leave the audio on because I actually talk in the audio in some spots. So I'm actually telling people what we're showing on the screen. And it's only 3.5 minutes, so we can sort of. You know,
Okay, I'll just let it rip then, because that'll give people
Yeah,
a taste of what the show is then.
Make sure you're muted when you let it rip.
Unlike a certain other one that Canadian to mine.
Mm-hmm.
Is that sharing okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Gunstar.
Yep. That's we are loading Zaxxon onto my CoCo One from iPad.
Like 3D demo.
Yeah, Remy's, that's an awesome one.
We're doing a sticker. Yep. Your warranty sticker's still in case. Oh, look at this. We got a Virgin warranty sticker. I feel bad. Well, we're going to film the Virgin warranty sticker being.
Here goes the hymen, boys.
Being pierced. Here we go.
Oh. No coming back.
Nope. JP has done it now.
Ruined it.
So we're missing blue on JP's CoCo 3. So we're going to take it apart. We're going to see if we can.
And you notice he's using a proper use of the Commodore monitors, using it on the CoCo.
Well, we have success.
And that's the
We have our
Magnavox
blue
clone,
back
actually,
again.
the clone of the one we just saw. The
We just had to reseat the gimme and the RGB to composite daughter board, and it's all
That's the same one Stevie has.
up and working. It looks so much better when we have all the proper colours.
Colors.
And that was just loose chips, wasn't it, David?
Actually, it was. Yeah, it was. I reseated the gimme and also reseated the daughter board, which converts RGB to composite. So we have one fully working CoCo 3 again.
Getting faster.
Hey,
Mad
popcorn.
skills going on here.
It's getting faster.
A bit of.
I like
Steve
popcorn.
Bjork
It's a simple
programming
game,
here.
but I like it.
Yeah.
We actually loaded this off one of the cassettes that was sitting there next to us. So
Yeah.
doing well.
So close.
Crikey. Pinball.
Well, we successfully loaded this pinball game off a cassette onto the CoCo One. So we do have some amongst
Is
all
that
of
the right
this.
CoCo palette?
CoCo.
It's a P mode 3 or P mode 1.
P1 1, yeah. It's the original
It is a
pinball
bit,
from
isn't it?
Tandy, 1980.
How a bit of aha take on me with Ed Snyder's chiptunes player.
Nice.
And that's playing through the audio on the Mega Mini MPI, I presume?
Yes. Yep.
Copyright ding.
A couple of BBC micros.
Connor Pet with the improved keyboard. I'm used to the old chiclet crappy one.
Hey, Terra City and a pet.
Model 4 in operation here.
Was he in Maverick here by any chance?
The cap's got out of it before, but it's still
No.
working.
No.
A different state.
He's in Melbourne.
This is for the exploding reefer caps.
Yeah, I from what I understand, he had some caps actually smoke while he turned it on the first time at the show or something?
That's right. Yeah, they're actually mains filter caps, and they're not critical.
Reef caps.
Yes, yep, and it works perfectly.
It's a
without
brand
them,
name of
so-
the capacitor.
Yep.
Anyway, that's the entire
RIFA.
video. So, David, please comment on what you thought of the show and what other people thought of the CoCo, etc.
Yeah, well, as you see, all the cassettes on the side there, they were from another guy who posted in the Adalaide Retro Computing Facebook group. He said, "Oh, does anyone have any? Does anybody here have a CoCo? I've got a whole pile of cassettes here, and I'd like to see if we can get anything off them." So I replied to him And I said, yeah, I've got a CoCo. And then they said, oh, well, maybe you can come along to the next meet and we can all meet up and try some things and see if we can load some of the cassettes. And so I thought, oh, okay, cool. I've never actually been to an Adelaide meetup, and this is an opportunity to be there. So I got an invite, and I thought I'll take them up on that. And the first guy that was going to give me a ride there ended up getting crook and wasn't able to go. But it turns out there was another guy here from Adelaide, John Paul Parker, his name is. He's actually in the CoCo Facebook group now. He was going along, and he's the one that had the CoCo 3 there that we repaired. And he offered to give me a ride, and I thought, oh, well, that's perfect. It works, and got an opportunity here to go along today to something. Back in the 80s, we used to go along to meetups and stuff like that, but I haven't been to one for decades. So I packed up 2 of my CoCos, as you saw on the video, and a whole lot of peripherals and some modern bits and pieces, CoCo VGAs and Mega Mini MPIs and CoCo STCs and upgraded RAM and CoCo Mech keyboards and new badges. And so there was a few people there that were really interested in seeing what all the modern upgrades were all about. So there was quite a few people there that were looking and going, oh, that's really cool. And it was funny when JP was first brought along his CoCo, he didn't realise it actually had a fault, and he was looking at it and he's saying, "Oh, these colour palettes look really ordinary. It looks bland, and my old Spectrum's got much better colours on it than this." And I said, "No, there's something wrong with that. That's not right. You haven't got any blue." And this was here. This was while we were at the show, and I said, "Look, maybe we can take it apart, and I'll see if I can fix it for you." So we did, and it was successful, and he came away much happier having a CoCo that's working. He goes, oh, this actually looks really good now. I'm really interested in this. This looks really, with all the proper colours working. It was actually something that he actually felt inspired to play around with. And I also demonstrated Simon Jonassen's original
CoCo 3
the
demo.
First demo. Yep, the CoCo 3 demo, and a lot of people were really impressed with that. A couple of guys there who inquired about, what did you use there? Is there extra hardware in the CoCo that does the graphics rendering and everything? And I said, no, that demo does everything via the CPU in real time. The sound is rendered the same time as the graphics, at the same time as everything is loaded. And there was a couple of guys there that were really impressed with that, saying, well, that's obviously a real tribute to the power of the 6809.
They got a lot of crikeys.
Imagine that, a color computer with all the colors.
Now, this is a monthly meetup from what I understand. Now, how long has this been going on? Has it been going on for decades too, this particular club? Or
I don't know about decades. I'm actually not sure how long it's been going on right now, but yes, it is monthly.
So how did you find it then?
Through the I found it through the CoCo, through Facebook groups. I was looking for local groups that had, retro computer groups, and I found the Adelaide Retro Computer group. And as I mentioned earlier, that's how somebody posted about, if anyone has a CoCo here, come along. And so I did. So that's how I found out, and made friends with some fellow retro enthusiasts. And so I've got a new bunch of friends here in Adelaide that are right into retro computing, and a couple of them are into the CoCos, which is really cool. I didn't realize.
And I'm sure your last minute ride was quite happy that he brought you along so you could fix his CoCo 3 for him. So
yeah.
Well, I said to him, look, if I can get a ride with you, because I don't drive. I've got a sleep disorder called narcolepsy, and I can't drive because of it. So he gave me a ride in, and I offered to pay him fuel and all the rest of it for helping me out. And in the end, we didn't have to worry about the fuel. He fixed his CoCo. And
there you go. Mutually beneficial, I think that's called.
Yeah, absolutely. So and he's a pretty cool guy. So we got along really well.
Nice.
David, did the time seem to go real fast?
Way too fast.
Yeah.
I actually planned on demonstrating EOU as well, OS Nitrous 9.
Yeah,
and
that's fine that you didn't, because I think you need to concentrate the whole show on Nitrous 9, obviously. So when you do
no, I actually spent
at least an hour in the trash can.
You didn't want to scare anybody away.
I spent quite a bit of time this week actually just going through various bits and pieces in EOU and just working out what would be good things to show off. You know, all the multitasking and the ray tracing bouncy ball and all the rest of it.
The trash can.
Yeah, the trash can.
Oh, that trash can. Put the trash can in the trash can.
Yeah, exactly.
End the world. So yeah, I actually planned on. That's one of the reasons why I didn't get as much time to play Rally SG as I'd planned on, because I was spending so much time in Nitrous 9 getting something prepared for this meet. And I actually fully intended to do it, but
no, that's fine. I don't hold any grudge against that whatsoever. There's so much to show on the CoCo, especially if people haven't seen it before and don't really know what it's capable of. That and you could spend 10 meetings in a row showing brand new stuff every time. So.
Yeah. Well, next month, October, I'm planning on having my CoCo D, which I'm sort of tentatively naming it at the moment, finished by the next meet. And if that's the case, I'll take it along with me and I'll demonstrate OS 9 on that.
Cool.
So yeah, but it was, I had a ball. It was a fantastic time. Really good group of people, and a lot of fun was had. So.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good to hear.
I hope we have CoCo Fest and real VCF next year.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yep. Yeah, well, I've never been to a CoCo Fest, obviously, so I figured that was it's the closest thing I'm going to get to it. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nick Randies and I have to shift off our mortal coils here of CoCoTALK. We have to go make a CoCo presentation, speaking of, at the International Computer Club from the Amigos side of things. So I think we'll head her on out. You guys can finish up the show.
Do we have your permission to do that, Curtis?
As long as you have a well-designed trash can, you can do anything you want.
All right.
Oh, we're in trouble then.
All right, bye, Curtis.
Thank you, Curtis.
We'll see you guys
Nick.
later.
I'll see you
next week,
later.
I'll post
Later,
the
Kurt.
links for the actual ICC video once they get it posted on YouTube too, so you guys can check that out. It's a mix of it's like the show David went to. It's a mix of retro computers of all kinds. So
Coming up, what we really think about Nitrous 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome.
See you guys
It's
later.
wonderful. It's
See
the
ya.
All right.
Have a good time,
There
guys.
it is.
Bye.
All right. So,
What's Jason doing over there? I see smoke coming up, and
Oh, smoke coming out. Just some soldering and some smoke from the soldering. Nothing all that exciting.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That smoke is completely normal.
We sent some smoke from the West Coast over to Ohio.
Okay.
Are there
That's
solder
that's
smoke
smoke.
signals.
are there any switches in the vicinity?
Oh, I got. You know what? Switches. I've got a whole thing full of toggle switches.
Nice.
And that's just one drawer of them. That's just one.
Awesome.
That magic, that smoke that comes off the soldering iron too. Everybody who's into electronics and has done their time in electronics knows that the smoke from the soldering iron, when you're soldering your components together, the smoke actually goes into the components and it's supposed to stay in them. Sometimes it fails, it gets
That's
out.
how you get it back in,
Keep
huh?
me high.
Yeah.
When that magic smoke comes out, it's done.
Done.
Yep.
All right, so guys, I need to, the last thing we have to do is project updates and acquisitions, and I did have something I wanted to show today that's fairly significant that could have taken more time, but I'm kind of in a time crunch right now because I mentioned this during one of the breaks, but our air conditioner has stopped, and it's been stopped now for a couple of hours, and I don't mind it as much as I've got a house full of women who do mind it. So can we shorten our updates and acquisitions this week and save it for next week? Who had something they wanted to show and tell? Terry Steggy and Brian, you usually have something. Jason has something. Are you guys, is your presentation relatively quick?
Mine would be very brief.
Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, it's my turn already. That was easy.
Well, you said you're brief, so.
Oh, very brief, very brief. In the category things I forgot I had bought on eBay, we have this book here, the TRS-80 color computer programs, something we had back in the day, a lot of type-in programs, and even has some color photos in it. It was cool, something we had back in the early days of us having a color computer. And then here's the best thing. I actually got something color computer related that I did not purchase.
Well, how could that happen?
I know, right? Through the magic of eBay, as she's been referred to, the lovely Sarah picked me up. Home publisher.
Oh my gosh.
So.
How?
Can you do the CoCo newsletter on that?
You know what? I don't even know. I actually think, it was a great. I think I have a copy of this somewhere, but this one's in much better shape, so it's going to go on the shelf there behind me. And so I was quite surprised. It's all here. It's even got foam, and it's got a floppy and everything. So we're it's all in here. So,
nice.
No sleeve.
So that's all I had. That was a surprise. That was a surprise CoCo acquisition.
Awesome.
Okay. And Terry Steggy.
Stevie, you get your air conditioner.
No, that's fine. That's fine, bro. Come on.
Well, I did get.
Ooh, robot battle.
Oh,
wow!
Ooh.
I've never seen that.
And the plastic's clean.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Not even yellow.
that's a huge package for the cartridge.
That's what she said.
I thought that was cool. And then
robot battle.
That's not TDP, is it?
It's not. It's kind of though. I had never seen.
The overlays, the keyboard overlays, the templates.
But
yeah.
Wow.
If you look at the logo, it's level 4.
What did
with
they
the
replace
badges.
the badge with? Where
Yeah.
your finger is. Can't really see that very well.
Let's see if I can get it over here.
What does that say?
Level 4.
It's actually,
Okay.
I found it's a company that they modified these for this programming, Master Control by Soft Sector. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to tear it apart. I want to see what's on the inside, but I was pretty excited to get that thing. It's I did find a couple ads out on the arc.
Let's see the back.
Oh, sorry.
What's the serial number? Just kidding.
It still says Radio Shack on the bottom, so it's a TRS-80 color computer.
It's got a big orange sticker on it there.
Yeah.
Level 4.
Level 4
Products.
Property Inc. Yeah.
Which voids the original warranty sticker and adds a new warranty sticker.
Yeah.
Which is going to get voided.
I'm kind of excited to see what the heck's on the inside of that. And then
Does it power up?
lastly, I'll just show.
Yeah, does it power up?
I haven't even tried it yet.
Okay.
I did see.
There, look at that. The dragon stuff. Nice. Look at all that. You're giving Brian Weasler a run for his money right now. Come on.
They actually had their own. I did not realize they had their own user magazine too.
Nice.
Wow. So anyway, I know you're busy. No,
that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Where did you go? There's Terry. Let me unspotlight you. Brian Weasler, you had something you wanted to show?
Yeah, I got a couple things, but I'll keep it to just this one here, only because Ken is on the show with us today. That he actually inspired this one. A few videos back, he had shown the Micro Adventures series. Ken had done a video on this, and I went out and I was able to locate all 10 books.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Now if you're closely watching, you'll see that number 7 is not here yet. It's on its way. But since Ken was here, I wanted to thank him for pointing these out on one of his videos.
What are they?
What's that?
Are they
What
a
are
story?
they?
So what it is, it's a little adventure book, and it kind of takes you through a mystery. And when you come to a spot in the book there where the mystery is, it has a small little program that you have to enter in, and then once you run the program, it'll give you a clue as to the next step in the mystery. And so it's kind of a mystery book / basic programming book, and it's written for different computers, everything from the Commodores to the TIs to the Ataris, and if depending on what model of computer that you have, it'll in the back of the book. If it says, okay, if you have a color computer, you need to modify this one line because not all basic programs are necessarily universal. And so it kind of steps you through that. And so there's a whole series. There's at least 10 books that I located.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's just 10 books.
On 10 books, okay. And then I did accidentally order one that I wasn't noticing, Ken. I don't know if you realized, but they actually had a hardcover version of the book as well. So these are all the paperbacks. I did accidentally order this and I wasn't paying attention, and there was a hard book cover of it. So I don't know, maybe I might go out and seek those. But so I did get one hardcover there. So I do have some other things, but I'll save them for next week.
Oh, you're going to
Okay.
keep it down to a half a dozen?
Half a dozen.
All right. Anybody else? Mikey, did you have something you wanted to show?
Oh no, not this time.
Anybody else had a show and tell? Anyone?
Already done mine.
All right. Now, hold on a second.
Roll
I'm gonna
that outro.
Well, I got mine to do. So I'm gonna jump on my phone here for a second. So hold on a second.
That might break the screen if you jump on it, Dave.
Right.
You have to have a good screen protector.
For those listening on audio, we are still here. We're just waiting for Stevie.
Please stand by.
Stevie has not
Now
rejoined.
that's been an actual test.
Steve is wiping the sweat from his brow.
If Steve would actually.
I'm trying to sign in on my phone. Sorry, I'm just ignoring you guys right now. All right, so some guy named Steve wants to join.
I let you in.
Yeah, we had to admit that we know you.
Okay, so where is that video? It's
Oh,
right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Both of you
Yeah.
are here.
Oh, no.
All right, how do I switch videos now?
Okay, there you
Do
go.
that.
Oh, but you got a nice hat
Okay.
on. There.
Nice fan.
That's his raving
that's it.
fans.
How do I switch the camera around to the other
Oh,
side?
there should be a little
Top
button.
left-hand corner. there's
There
a
we go.
button.
There we go.
Kabomb.
This is CoCoTALK on CoCoTALK. There
Oh,
we go.
this is total inception
This is
here.
command
Kabomb.
center.
Oh, jeez.
Coco.
Oh, are we getting bandwidth issues right now?
No,
No, it's
not at
fine
all.
here.
it's fine.
No problem.
As we see your shelf of stuff.
You
Ooh.
guys are coming a little bandwidth. All right. So this is what I picked up today. This is courtesy of friend neighbor. His name is Greg Smith. This system
Wow.
is the Motorola XOR. Is that what it's called? XOR?
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
apparently what this is an early development system that Motorola had created to allow people to write software, operating systems, applications, develop hardware and everything for the 6809.
How did he get it?
He got it from a woman whose husband had the original owner. He had this and he had passed away and she was holding on to it because he didn't want it to be. This guy, Greg, what he does is he does electronic recycling. And so because of that, he does get a hold of vintage computers, which he does not recycle. He keeps those. But so this came from the original owner. And so one of the pamphlets, and there's just a ton of books and documentation that have come with this.
Wow.
I've got the original floppies. Floppy?
Yeah, baby.
We got the floppies that came with it. I've got some of the floppies are still sealed in their bags, like from the this is like Motorola factory sealed software, so new stock, not opened.
Well,
So there's a bunch of stuff in here. A lot of manuals on Motorola microprocessor data manuals, single chip microcomputer, CMOS. There's just binders and binders of information. There's a reference book here, preliminary
That 6801
programming.
reference manual. That's exceedingly rare.
Okay.
The what?
6801 is so
6801.
that 6801 reference manual that has 6801 and 6803. So like if you want to do assembly language programming on the MC10, that 6801 reference manual, that's your guide right there. And that guy is very rare. That one right there, 6801 reference manual.
I thought MC10 was 6803.
It does, but they're the same.
Oh, okay.
They just have different peripherals
Internal
inside
ROM
the chip.
versus
Oh,
The father.
okay. Sorry, guys. Thank you.
That's
So you
Wow.
don't know,
I am
if it
totally
works,
drooling,
do you?
Stevie.
This is worth its
So
own shelf. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. So there's just so much documentation. This is all macro assembler reference for 6800, 6801, 6805, 6809.
Wow.
There's just so much in here, right? I've got all these binders full of stuff. And then the coolest thing here is I'm going to bring this over here and set it down on the table. All right, so this whole kit here, this says Motorola Consultant Support Program. So this looks like the owner of this, he was going to be doing some type of work where maybe he would be selling Motorola technology to system manufacturers. So this is a whole kit here with all kinds of data sheets and cut sheets and all kinds of Motorola stuff here. This is all Motor. There's actually like some letters of joining the Motorola program in here. I've got the receipts for this thing. Some there's just so much stuff. So like every type of data sheet and cut sheet. This is some type of consultant agreement here. If you were going to become the consultant for Motorola and sell their stuff, so that paperwork is in here. There's just so much stuff. This is, and Motorola used to have a plant down here in Miramar, Florida, in Southwest Broward County, and this picture reminds me of that building.
Probably
So,
probably the Scottsdale, Arizona one though. I remember seeing that building once or twice.
M6805, 6804 microcomputer design to idea prototype. Right. So this is like some hardcore stuff here on using Motorola technology to develop stuff. Right. So there's just so much of this.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah. So not only is this computer here, it very much reminds me of a Model 3. Right. It's got a green screen CRT. It does boot up to a prompt. And I've got a handful of disks. There is a basic, there's like a tiny basic or a relocatable basic, it's called. It's got a halfway decent, full stroke keyboard here.
Where's the turn on switch?
Abort, abort,
mayday.
Time to abort CoCoTALK.
Yeah, right. So we were talking about this on Discord when it came up, and apparently there's a handful of people who are much more familiar. I'm not familiar with this machine, other than I know it's completely significant to the history of the 6809.
So we speak of the CoCo being sort of the 6809 spec sheet design.
Yeah.
And it's been made into many things over the years. We saw a couple earlier in today's CoCoTALK. This is the machine that Tandy probably used to cobble up the CoCo.
Yeah, okay. Wow, that's cool.
What's the back look like? Does it have any DIN sockets or anything?
It's big and it's heavy. You can see how deep this thing goes back.
Yeah,
this shelf there.
There's a card cage inside there.
Yeah, this is an 18-inch deep shelf, and this thing is about 26 inches deep. Now, most of the weight is pretty back heavy, so the keyboard's not too heavy, so I'm not have to worry about this thing falling over. But yeah, it was, it's a pretty heavy beast to get this thing in here. So I'm going to look at the inside. I'm really curious to know, is it a ceramic CPU? Does it have that ceramic with the brass plate on the top, or is it a plastic CPU? That'd be interesting to see the type of memory, the type of buses that are in it.
Yeah, if it's a 4K.
Yeah, this thing had like 56K. I have the bill of sale of all the components. The base unit was about $6,000. It got upgraded to something like 56K. To buy basic on a floppy was like $850 to buy the basic language for this thing. So just
are those similar to the CoCo floppies? Are they 35 track?
I'm not sure. Yeah, you guys are bandwidthing on me really bad. I'm going to hang up on my phone now and get back to the microphone. So,
what a nice find.
Oh,
that's awesome. That's so cool.
That's totally awesome. I'm so jealous.
So
are you gonna make
that's amazing.
Are you gonna make pictures of it? All the way around.
Yeah. I did take some. There are some pictures in Discord. I did create a channel under hardware because I did some research and I determined there were not enough channels in Discord right now. So I went ahead and made another channel for this. But I figured instead of lumping this into general hardware, I would just put all those pictures by themselves. So if there's a thread that goes on, it can stick with this.
So I still can't get my channel, but you got a channel for this thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I see how it goes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
does it have a serial number?
I'm sure it does.
Number one.
I'm sure it does. So I'll get some more pictures of the backs and the sides and the bottoms and stuff like that. I literally picked it up this morning, and I had about an hour to kill from the time I got it all put on a shelf and took a shower before the show started. So I haven't had a lot of time to digest it. Now, just so you know, I'm probably not going to keep this because it's just huge. So I am going to be looking for the right home for this. And honestly, I think this needs to be like in a museum rather than just going to a private collector / hoarder, you schmucks. But I think it needs to be in a museum. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll find the home
the
for
archive
it.
too.
The arc somewhere, right? Because
No, I mean all of the discs and printed materials, they should all get like scanned and archived and stuff, because otherwise, it might go into storage someplace and get lost. Should take the opportunity for preservation as well.
That's a good idea. Greg is still here. Thanks. I didn't think Greg was sorry to keep you holding this long, Greg. So he says he thinks the serial number was under 2,000, but he could be wrong. So that's the guy who I got it from. So no, it's a neat system. It's a huge part of the history of the Motorola family of CPUs, and this was kind of like a prototyping machine developed by Motorola for people to make Motorola-based technologies. So
It's really interesting to see whether Fairlight guys actually used one of those to develop the Fairlight.
That would be one of the things that a consultant would buy that, and they would sign that consulting agreement. And then if somebody went to Motorola and they had a design and they needed it programmed, they would refer them to the person that had this machine.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, it is definitely a neat slice of history. I did. Let me take you guys out of here for real sec. Can you see my desktop?
Not yet.
No.
It says CoCoTALK. Can you see the CoCoTALK desktop?
Nope.
Nope, just a forehead.
Oh, hold on. Am I not screen sharing? Hold on one second.
No.
Okay, let me turn on screen sharing again real quick here. Share screen.
There's a monitor and mic on the YouTube.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, you guys seeing this? You guys seeing it now?
Yeah, no.
Yep.
No, you're
Okay. All right. So now let me. I can't minimize it. Maybe I can do that. Let me move that over here. All right, can you see my desktop now, where it says Geek Talk?
I can.
It's behind
in the background. Yeah.
It's behind something.
All right, you see it now?
Yep.
So yeah, so I took a handful of pictures of it, right? So if they'll come up.
Nice white screen.
Yeah, isn't it? Of course, when
Very
you're trying to do everything live. What the hell, dude? All right, here we go. So this was me loading it in the trunk, right? So you can see how deep this system is, right? So, I did try to take a few pictures of a few things here. So this was that consultant kit, and these are all in Discord, right? So this is the M6805, 6804 of microcomputers from design idea to prototype. You see that CPU there? You see how these are kind of the ceramic ones? Right, so this is what I'm wondering, and this one even has the little EEPROM window on there where you could reprogram them or something, right? So, or I'm not sure what that's for.
You're going to have the absolute
like
bulletproof version
emulator
of hardware.
Okay.
In that thing.
So these are just some of the things. This is that stack of books, right? So this is it on the shelf that you guys just saw, kind of a little bit of a close up of it. Some of the books, just a ton of stuff. These are some of these floppies here. M6809 software. Editor, assembler. I'm not even sure what these. I think one of the ones was a basic program, Basic M, relocatable Basic M 4.0.
And you start with a machine monitor, so you can run this thing just off of the A register. Away we go.
Wow, right? So
amazing.
Right, and these were some of those sealed in floppies. Software registration, part number, serial numbers, the date. This is from 85, right? So I thought this is newer than I thought it would be. But these were some of the other floppies that came with it that I have. XOR disk system. So this must have been like a disk, an external disk housing. This one's got internal drives, kind of like the TRS-80 Model 3. Macro assembler reference manuals, tiny basic user manuals. There's so much stuff in here. Link loader reference manual, XOR CRT editor, 6801, 6805, 6809, macro assemblers, just all kinds of cool stuff in here, right? preliminary programming manual for the MC6809 CPU.
Wow.
You know, just
Get that guy scanned, man.
Yeah.
Preliminary. We aren't done yet.
No, yeah. So you've seen 10% of what's in that documentation from this thing. There's just tons of stuff. So
those floppies might be something good to rip with the grease weasel.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, so we just need to find the right way to make sure this thing gets preserved. You know, I was fortunate enough to be able to just take possession of it. I don't think I'm going to keep it, but we'll figure it out, right? So Tim Linder is saying some of those prelim manuals are already scanned. So Tim's out there. All right, so cool. But yeah, so that was my pickup today. That thing all kind of came together in just the past few days this week. Matter of fact, somebody else on Facebook who knows I'm in Florida says, hey man, you got to check this thing out. And I saw it. And when I was messaging the guy, because I was just messaging from my phone from a picture that somebody sent me, I didn't even realize this was somebody who I knew. So I actually knew Greg, but when I'm messaging him, I didn't exactly know who I was messaging. And he's like, oh yeah, I know who you are. And says, oh yeah, I know who you are. So it was just kind of weird how it all just kind of worked out, you know? So, and then real quick too, something else I can just show you, but I haven't gotten the power working for it just yet, but this is kind of a cool thing too. But this is courtesy of Malfunct, Scott Wendt, and he made this contraption, this prototype thing. But what you'll see on the back here, that's your 6-pin DIN, and you notice you've got and then over here I've got a USB input. But what this is this is to convert an Xbox USB controller to run on a CoCo. And so what I just realized this morning when I tried to fire this thing up is I'm not sure if I have a USB A to B connection, and I don't know if I have the right power for this, so I don't want to screw it up. But this is where I would plug in the USB port for my Xbox controller, and then on the back you've got your 6-pin DIN to 6-pin DIN to plug into your CoCo, and so it's a way to plug a modern controller into your vintage system, and I'm looking forward to playing with that because I like the Xbox style controller. It's a nice hybrid, self-centering, analog-ish stick, a little bit more ergonomic than the old ones are. So looking forward to playing with that. And thanks, Scott, for making that and sending that to me. All right. Unfortunately, if we weren't sweating our arses off, I might be able to hang out longer, but I got to go drain my pans and blow out some lines and stuff like that right now. So
is that what you're calling it now?
Yes. Listen,
it's a fancy name for a bloody break.
Yeah, there you go. So
blow out your pan.
Yes. Drain some pans, blow some lines. You know how it is. It's Saturday. Got to make some extra money. So
day in the life of a CoCo.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to be without AC in Florida, I can tell you what. So,
yeah, right.
Very special guest, Ken Waters, aka Canadian Retro Things. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Curtis Boyle, for the gaming news and for the normal news, and thank you, Nick Marotta, for your GameON Game of the Week segment and challenge, and thank you, David O'Connor, for bringing us that view of the Adalaide meetup, and thank you, Ron Delvaux, for always being here, for your spiritual support and your guidance. He's also my financial advisor. So how's the market doing, Ron? Good?
I don't know. Checks in the mail.
I don't know. The weather's all red here.
Oh,
they'll
West
have
Coast.
crappy air quality.
I'm really sorry, Mikey. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you are safe. So Jason, the CoCo Man, Reichard, David Ladd, Mark Bosley, Brian Weasler, Alan Murphy, James Diffendaffer, Terry Steggy, David Ladd. You're going to say our parting thoughts, Dave. Anything you want to say to the folks at home about the show we had today and what they can do with the rest of their day today? David?
Oh, David had to step away. Sorry.
David, all right,
I'm so excited. I got my grease weasel.
So we'll play the outro and we'll see.
Have a great day.
We'll see
playing
if
with
David.
Your CoCos.
We'll see if David can make it back after the outro here. This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy color computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at CoCoTALK.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to CoCoTALK@CoCoTALK.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop. 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click the Patreon link at our website at CoCoTalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Tom C., Rob Inman, Mark Bosley, Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, David O'Connor, Brian Weasler, Terry Steggy, Nick Marotta, John Strong, and many more, especially to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and James Differendaffer for making my head explode. Please help support the CoCo community by visiting some of its various contributors. A list of resources is available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Marotta, David Ladd. All right, so since David Ladd is not here, in honor of David Ladd, in memory, in loving memory of David Ladd, let's all do our best David Ladd goodbyes. Jason, you're probably the king of fake David Ladd right now.
Oh, hashtag fake David Ladd. Thanks for being here, everyone. Enjoy, and I'm going to go off and run my grease weasel. Yee.
Anybody else want to take a shot at that, or is that it?
Not after that. No way.
That's the king, that one.
He's the king.
The king of hashtag fake David Ladd.
Too much distortion.
We are going to press the button. Frank, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye,
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.